50%. Chapter 301. Seeing these khaki bright lights, Lin Haoyang frowned. Before, Lin Haoyang had speculated on the difficulty of finding the veins. Now that I really see it, I am even more shocked and helpless, because there are too many of these ground veins. In the field of vision, there are at least tens of thousands of long yellow serpentine lights, and these are all the veins within the scope of Qianyuan Mountain. Looking at these dense veins, Lin Haoyang was stunned for a while. With such a huge number, it is undoubtedly a needle in a haystack to find the veins on which Qianyuan Mountain formation relies. It's a bit troublesome, it may take some time, Xiao Jinlong said. Lin Haoyang frowned. It's not that he didn't believe in the strength of Little Golden Dragon, but that they really didn't have much time. Lin Haoyang's expression gradually became solemn, and said, "In 3 days, we only have 3 days. Within 3 days, if you can't find it, there is no need to continue." After hearing the words, the Little Golden Dragon nodded immediately. After that, the shadow of the Little Golden Dragon's divine sense began to wander down the ground. They regard soil and rocks as nothing, and go back and forth freely. Lin Haoyang was shocked, remembering that Xiao Jinlong took him through the thunder catastrophe of the Green Flood Dragon, and he was so unimpeded. Seeing Lin Haoyang's doubts, Xiao Jinlong said, "When the previous master created me, he added a trace of the soul of the space dragon, and I was able to inherit a trace of the power of the space dragon. It is the ability of the dragon of space that gives me the ability to shuttle at will, but because only a trace of the soul of the dragon of space is incorporated, my arbitrary shuttle is also limited, and I cannot leave the Jade Gate thousands of miles away. Within 1,000 miles, my going and staying, there are few things in this world that can stop you." Quote. After Lin Haoyang heard this, he was taken aback, the dragon of space. Not to mention the extent of the fetish, the word space alone was enough to surprise Lin Haoyang. All things involving space and time are the highest rules in the world. Since migrating from the fairy world to this world, the 5 elements road has been the most prosperous avenue, because in this world, the birth of 5 elements spiritual roots is the most common and the number is extremely large. Lin Haoyang finally understood where Xiao Jinlong's unimpeded ability came from, and at the same time, Lin Haoyang was curious. The Little Golden Dragon is so powerful, what kind of power does Feng Ling still sleeping in the Jade Vault have? Afterwards, Lin Haoyang saw that Little Golden Dragon began to feel seriously, so he stopped talking so as not to disturb Little Golden Dragon. The shadow of Lin Haoyang's divine sense, looking at these earthy ground veins, felt uneasy, and hoped that the Little Golden Dragon could find the ground veins on which the Qianyuan Mountain Protector Array relied within 3 days. Qian Yuanshan is fighting fiercely, and at this moment, a huge force in Zheng's country is rushing to Wu Guo. There are only more than 40 people in this force, but no one dares to underestimate it, because this group of cultivators are all cultivation bases above Golden Core. At the forefront of this group of people, there are 4 nascent soul cultivators. This group of people is the combined army of the 4 sects of Zheng State. At their speed, it only takes 3 days to set foot on the territory of the Azure Cloud sect. At that time, as long as they enter the hinterland of Qingyunzong, don't do anything with them, Qingyunzong will inevitably withdraw. Qian Huozhe always thought that the 4 sects of Zheng State were helping them, but Chu Shulan didn't know that the 4 sects of Zheng State were planning her Qianyuan Mountain. It's just that they didn't talk to Zuo Qianji, they could only use another method to capture Qianyuan Mountain. As long as Qianyuan Mountain gets it, the 4 sects will have an excellent springboard. Because the East River sect is bordered by the Dry Fire Pavilion, they don't even need an enclave, which can save a lot of resources. With the strength of their 4 families, demonic beasts such as the 4-armed white ape were also beaten back to the wilderness by the Baixianmen. What awaits them is to harvest resources. Then, step by step toward the wilderness, the 3 sects of the Wu Kingdom can quickly cultivate the nascent soul cultivator by relying on the resources of the savage country, so naturally they can also use the 4 sects of the Zheng Kingdom. What's more, you can do better. When Zheng Guo's nascent soul cultivator reaches more than 10, even if it is Chongshan Tower, he dare not take them anymore. From now on, the 4 sects of the Zheng Kingdom can be like Yuananjai. As long as they have a cultivator of God, they can surpass Yuananjai, reach the 6th rank, and become the overlord of the borderland. This was the plan of the 4 sects of Zheng Kingdom, and the beginning of this plan was the invasion of Qingyunzong by Dry Fire Pavilion, which gave them a reason to go to war. Otherwise, facing the pressure of the Sword Alliance, they really dare not go to war at this time. Now that this pressure is resisted by Baixianmen and Zongshanlu, they naturally have no scruples. Soon, 2 days later, Zuo Qianji's eyebrows became more worried. With the cultivation base at the top of his nascent soul, he attacked so violently for 2 days, and he was a little overwhelmed. At this moment, he was holding a top-grade spirit stones to restore his spirit power. He glanced back at Lin Haoyang's camp, and after 2 days, Lin Haoyang hadn't heard a word, and one day, if there was no other way, he might have to retreat by force. In Qianyuan Mountain, Chu Shulin was even more nervous and inexplicable. As long as she lasted for another day, Qingyunzong would retreat, and she was considered to have kept the last fire in the dry fire pavilion. At this moment, the 3 top-grade spirit stones in front of her had been completely restored, and the spirit power was dispersed. A cruel look suddenly flashed across Chu Shulin's face, a flash of aura suddenly flashed from her dantian, and then a nascent soul flew out of her dantian, and then sat on top of her head. Then a string of silk threads appeared in the air, connected to the mountain guard formation, forcibly maintaining the formation. Seeing this scene, the eyes of Qianwo Pavilion were red, but no one shed tears. They knew that Chu Shulin offered her own nascent soul, which meant that he had started desperately. Once nascent soul is damaged, not only will she be cut off, but the cultivation base is also likely to fall. That nascent soul 9-layer cultivator was full of doubts between his eyebrows. In the past 2 days, Lin Haoyang was not seen. Although the pressure was reduced, he felt that Lin Haoyang did not show up and was always a variable. But in the dry fire pavilion today, even Chu Shulin has begun to sacrifice nascent soul. Even if there are variables, they don't have the means to deal with them. Only to survive tomorrow is liberation. After thinking about it, he once again urges the origin to bless the mountain protection formation. Soon, 1 day passed again. For Qingyun sect, this day passed too quickly, and for Dry Fire Pavilion, this day was longer than a year. Qingyunzong withdrew its troops, Qianyuan Mountain was broken, and Dry Fire Pavilion was destroyed, so he made a decision on this day. This time, it was not only Zuo Qianji who cast his eyes on the camp where Lin Haoyang was, but the eyes of everyone present at the Azure Cloud sect, fighting on the camp where Lin Haoyang was. Victory and defeat were all in one thought. Chu Shulin's lotus position was on the top of Qianyuan Mountain. Of course she noticed the strangeness of the people in Qingyunzong, presumably something was happening there that could change the situation. However, she had no intention of caring about other things at this moment. Her nascent soul was connected to the mountain guard, and she couldn't tolerate her to leave for half a minute. Even if she found something unusual in the camp, he couldn't stop it. As everyone watched, the sun gradually reached the middle of the day, and half of the day had passed. In the territory of Zheng Kingdom, the 4 coalition forces were already less than 3,000 miles away from the territory of Qingyunzong, and they could reach it in half a day. Faced with the gaze from many quarters, Lin Haoyang was also under great pressure. 99% of the earth veins, as many as tens of thousands, had been eliminated. And Qianyuan Mountain's protective mountain formation was built by relying on these last 100 heavens and earth veins. Just when Lin Haoyang was anxious, cheers came from Xiao Jinlong's mouth. Found it. Following Xiao Jinlong's gaze, Lin Haoyang saw the 9 underground veins, presenting a special arrangement of charms. And on them, there are countless threads connected to the light curtain above. 51%. Chapter 302. Seen from a distance, it is silk thread, but when you get closer, you will find what silk thread is here, but a chain made up of magical charms. Qianyuan Mountain's great formation relied on these chains composed of runes to obtain strength from the 9 ground veins. As for the spirit power needed by the great array, it relies on the spirit veins that are more than 10 li long to provide. At this moment, the 9 ground veins are very weak, and the rune chains linking them are also fictitious and real, as if they are about to be broken. This spirit vein is the source of the spirit power of the formation, and the earth vein is the stable foundation of the formation. Once the earth vein is disturbed, the formation will have corresponding problems. Now that he found the veins, Lin Haoyang did not hesitate anymore. At the location of the camp body, Lin Haoyang shot the storage bag, and the swords of Long Yuan and killing intent flew out of the storage bag. At the same time, Lin Haoyang spoke to Zuo Qianji. Head teacher, I have found the location of the earth vein, and another quarter of an hour each, there will be a gap in the formation in the southeast direction, seize the opportunity. After speaking, Lin Haoyang controlled 2 flying swords and went straight to the ground. When Zuo Qianji heard this news, he was overjoyed. This battle has reached the most critical moment. If Lin Haoyang can't find the ground veins, I am afraid he can only order to withdraw. At the same time, Zuo Qianji passed the news out, so that everyone in the Azure Cloud sect was ready, and everyone gradually moved closer to the southeast of the Great Array. Although Chu Shulin didn't know the content of the sound transmission, the Qingyunzong's movements were not hidden from her. Seeing the crowd approaching to the southeast, she was also puzzled, and she didn't know what the Qingyunzong was doing. In any case, he couldn't think that Lin Haoyang was already destroying the veins. No, she can only let the people of Dry Fire Pavilion lean towards the southeast of the Great Formation to relieve the local pressure on the Great Formation. At this time, the swords of Longyuan and Killing Intent had gone deep underground for kilometers. But at such a depth, it is difficult for Lin Haoyang's divine sense to be extended. Without divine sense control, Flying Sword cannot destroy the veins by itself. For a time, Lin Haoyang was very embarrassed. Seeing that Lin Haoyang's divine sense was ineffective, Xiao Jinlong turned over and quickly rushed to the two flying swords, and the divine sense attached to Xiao Jinlong once again contacted the two flying swords, allowing Lin Haoyang to continue to control. Afterwards, the little golden dragon was in front, and the two flying swords were behind, and only hit the southeast direction, the nearest ground vein from them. This ground vein is kilometer long, with 3 sections at the head, waist and tail, each with a rune chain that locks it so that he can't move any minute, and the little golden dragon looks insignificant in front of it. Here, without the little golden dragon's guidance, Lin Haoyang's divine sense controls 2 flying swords to attack the rune chains at the head and waist of the ground vein. These 2 runes chains are the most important. As long as the runes in these 2 places are broken, the ground veins can naturally break away from the control of the formation. Without the support of the ground veins, the formation at the southeast corner will inevitably break a gap. 2 flying swords cut through the rock, and instantly slashed on top of the 2 rune chains. These chains look strong, but for the ground veins, once the ground veins are locked, there is no possibility of escape. But for the entity flying sword, these rune chains are not very strong. Wherever the 2 flying swords passed, the chains broke. With the break of the 2 rune chains, the earth dragon was taken aback first, and then turned frantically. The earth veins turned over. The power was so powerful that the rune chain at the end of the earth veins could no longer withstand the resistance from the earth dragon, and immediately collapsed. As for the little golden dragon, this scene was clearly anticipated long ago. When Lin Haoyang controlled Flying Sword to cut the rune chain, he retreated. Therefore, this was not affected by the turn of the earth pulse. The little Jinlong was surrounded by 2 flying swords and left Lin Haoyang's body for 3 consecutive days. It also looked very weak. Master, the consumption is a bit big this time, and it may take a while to sleep. Xiao Jinlong said. Lin Haoyang's expression of excitement faded and said, "Don't worry, as long as there is nothing important, I won't disturb you again." Little Golden Dragon nodded, and then took 2 flying sword and Lin Haoyang's divine sense, rushing to the camp where Lin Haoyang's body was. At the moment when Lin Haoyang cut the ground veins, Qianyuan Mountain's protective formation shook violently, and everyone was shocked. The people of the Qingyun sector are overjoyed, and the people of the Dry Fire Pavilion are greatly afraid. As the controller of the entire formation, Chu Shulin is ashamed at this moment. Just now, one of the 9 ground veins that served as the foundation of the Great Formation was completely disconnected from her. And the location of that vein was in the southeast of Qianyuan Mountain. At this moment, Chu Shulin finally knew the plan of Qingyunzong. Afterwards, to the southeast of Qianyuan Mountain, the earth began to become chaotic, with huge gaps in many places. Some of the cultivators of Qianyuan Mountain's veins fell into it by accident. Before everyone was afraid, there was another loud noise coming from the ground. Then, the mountain protection formation in the southeast direction was suddenly cut off from the people. Without the support of the ground vein and without the spirit power provided by the cultivator, the large formation in the direction of Dingnan suddenly cracked a big hole. The cultivator was desperate, but they still failed to hold on to this last day. At this moment, everyone in Qingyunzong came out of the gap as if they had been prepared. Especially Zuo Qianji and Hu Weiwei, the 3 Tier 5 magical items, immediately caused a large number of casualties. But after one blow, the 2 of them fled and went straight to Chu Shulin on the top of Qianyuan Mountain. The 2 blows have caused a lot of casualties in the Dry Fire Pavilion cultivator, especially the foundation building cultivator. The 2 charged blows killed and injured the foundation building cultivator, probably no less than 30 people, the pulse cultivator, hundreds of casualties. Afterwards, the Golden Core and foundation building cultivator of the Azure Cloud sect entered the battlefield, and the scene was extremely chaotic. Here, Zuo Qianji and Hu Weiwei have also come to the top of Qianyuan Mountain. Facing the pincer from Zuo Qianji and Hu Weiwei, Chu Shulin didn't want to do anything except her face of despair. Just when one of the earth pulses was cut off, her nascent soul was just connected to it, and after receiving a large array of backlash, her nascent soul had become extremely weak at this moment. Seeing Zuo Qianji here, Chu Shulin said, Zuo Qianji, I voluntarily die, can you let me go as a cultivator? Hearing these words, Zuo Qianji and Hu Weiwei were all taken aback. If Chu Shulin died on her own, it would save the Qingyunzong a lot of effort. Head teacher, leaving them, it must be a disaster. Hu Weiwei said anxiously because of Zuo Qianji's weakness. Zuo Qianji raised his hand and said, if you take the soul oath, those who are no longer enemies with the Azure Cloud sect can leave. Those who wish to surrender, my Azure Cloud sect can bring it under the sect, and restore freedom in 30 years. Those who do not drop and do not want to leave, kill without mercy. Quote. When Chu Shulin heard this, a wry smile appeared on her face. Just when the formation was forced, her Dao heart also burst, and the Dry Fire Pavilion was finally ruined in her hands. All the cultivators of Dry Fire Pavilion, now the general situation is gone, the fellow Taoist on the left is kind, and if you want to leave, you can leave as long as you put down your hatred and make a soul oath. Those who are willing to return to the Blue Cloud sect, the left fellow Taoist will not dislike it, and are included in the Blue Cloud sect. Both were unwilling, so let me go to the senior in Dry Huo Pavilion, repent and atone for my sins. Chu Shulin's voice spread throughout Qianyuan Mountain. At this time, Lin Haoyang had just walked out of the camp. Hearing this, he couldn't help feeling sad. 51%. Chapter 303 The Four Decisions. A 1,000-year-old sect was destroyed by the thought of sect leader. This is also greedy but insufficient. Although Lin Haoyang's heart is sad, but he does not know how to soften. This is the rule of the world of cultivating immortals. If you blindly soften your heart, then this situation will fall to you. Although this side has won, the four sects of Zheng are rushing at the border of Wu state. If they are not handled well, they will not escape a big battle. The people in Qianwo Pavilion heard Chu Shulin's words like this, and the sentiment was suddenly infuriated, but there were also many people who felt ashamed. When the troops were sent to Yuehu, Golden Core Elder disagreed, but Chu Shulin was the head teacher and had great power. Indiscriminately, they led the people of Dry Fire Pavilion to kill Moon Lake. At that time, if they hadn't underestimated the strength of the cannibal ghost vine, they might have succeeded. Therefore, as soon as Chu Shulin said this, the cultivator of Dry Fire Pavilion was divided into three factions. Half of the people did not want to surrender or leave, and decided to fight to the death of Qingyunzong. A quarter of the people are willing to join the Azure Cloud sect. Without the protection of sect, they are bound to become rogue cultivators. Rogue cultivators are helpless and wandering. For sect cultivators, it is difficult for them to accept life as rogue cultivators. There is also a group of people who are tolerant of humiliation. They voluntarily leave the Dry Fire Pavilion. Although they will make a soul oath to no longer seek revenge, they can leave some of the Dry Fire Pavilion incense, which is worthy of the ancestors of the Dry Fire Pavilion. Those who are willing to fight to the death are headed by the Golden Core 9-layer cultivator who is confronting Lin Haoyang. Although the face is withered at this moment, the entire cultivation base has fallen to the Golden Core early stage. However, his eyes were bright, and he brought several other sect Old Golden Core, Old Foundation Building, and Old Cultivators to the Azure Cloud sect. This group of people is the oldest and most experienced cultivator in the Dry Fire Pavilion. They cannot accept surrender and escape, and can only choose to fight the Azure Cloud sect. At this moment, Zuo Qianji looked at these people and said in his mouth, kill. Suddenly, the 30 golden cores of the Azure Cloud sect, more than 100 foundation buildings, and 2,000 condensing pulses shot one after another. Under such firepower, these cultivators suddenly flew into flesh and blood. They died on the battlefield and died in Qianyuan Mountain, which can be regarded as sustenance. The remaining half of the cultivator is young people, half of them want to continue the Dry Fire Pavilion. The other half of the people want to vote under Qingyun sect again, and want a sect to rely on. Although they surrendered to the Azure Cloud sect, their treatment is certainly not as good as that of the people of the Azure Cloud sect, but they are better than rogue cultivators. Moreover, once they have descendants, the treatment is exactly the same as the Qingyunzong cultivator, which can be regarded as a way out for their descendants. When all the old people of Dry Fire Pavilion were killed, a young golden core from Dry Fire Pavilion stood up. He was cultivated by sect according to the transfer power elder. Most of the core cultivation techniques of sect are well known to him. As long as he is there, Dry Fire Pavilion is not completely destroyed. I saw him bow deeply to the old man of Qianwo Pavilion, and then to Chu Shulin, but Chu Shulin got up and avoided her worship. Chu Shulin then nodded to her and closed her eyes. She saw the spirit power of Chu Shulin's whole body change drastically, and then a little light flashed from her dantian, and a spirit of power died. Afterwards, Chu Shulin's nascent soul, lotus position was within her dantian, and finally glanced at the Dry Fire Pavilion, full of dismay, but slowly dissipated, turned into spirit power, and returned to heaven and earth. Nascent soul died. Chu Shulin's body also died, losing its vitality. When the cultivator saw this, most of the cultivator's eyes were red, and some close to Chu Shulin couldn't help crying. Witnessing the death of Chu Shulin, the young golden core cultivator in the Dry Fire Pavilion immediately left with a quarter of the Dry Fire Pavilion cultivator. They are the last kind of fire in the Dry Fire Pavilion, but if you want to start sect again, I don't know how difficult it is. Zuo Qianji looked at Chu Shulin who was dying, a trace of sadness flashed in his eyes, and with a flick of his finger, a fire of nascent soul flew out, wrapping Chu Shulin in circles. When Hu Weiwei saw this, she just sighed softly. In respect of her old opponent, Zuo Qianji let everything go with her, not even the storage bag. After a stick of incense, Chu Shulin turned into ashes and disappeared from the world completely. The Dry Fire Pavilion has disappeared from then on, and the Azure Cloud sect has since taken over Qianyuan Mountain and the people and assets of the people in the realm. If there is any violator, kill, Zuo Qianji said. As soon as this remark came out, it represented the demise of the Dry Fire Pavilion, and the Azure Cloud sect cultivator was also cheered. After this, Zhou Zunyuan began to take the Qingyunzong cultivator to take over Qian Yuanshan and sort out the remaining assets. Because Chu Shulin wanted to be able to hold it, she did not destroy the spiritual fields and veins of Qianyuan Mountain. Only when the ground veins vibrated, some infrastructure was damaged. It can be said that Qingyunzong has harvested a fifth-order high-grade spirit vein that has been developed for thousands of years. If it is valued, its value must be more than 10 million spirit stones. Such a value, which is why Zuo Qianshan categorically rejected Huang Tongshuan. They bid 2 million spirit stones, which is almost the same as a strong grab. When Qingyunzong took over Qianyuan Mountain in an all-round way, Lin Haoyang naturally idled, but Lin Haoyang's heart did not relax, because he knew that the 4 sects of Zheng State were rushing to Wu State at a very fast speed. At this moment, Zuo Qianji once again took out a leaf of the mother-child message tree. The other end of the leaf of the mother-child message tree was in the hands of Dai Tianqi, the contemporary head teacher of Wangjizong. Afterwards, Zuo Qianji wrote on the message leaf with spirit power. The scenery of Qianyuan Mountain is unique. Wu State Shuangzong, welcome 4 fellow Taoists to come here for tea and Taoist discussion. Afterwards, Zuo Qianji squeezed it with his hand, and the green leaf turned into a green glow and disappeared. At the same time, Dai Tianqi frowned at the border between Zhengzhou and Wu, thousands of miles away. He felt that the leaves of the mother-child message tree in the storage bag had changed. Immediately, Dai Tianqi stopped the 4 cultivators, and he took out the leaves of the message tree. Seeing the above content, Dai Tianqi's face suddenly turned black, and his extreme anger almost made him unable to control his own spirit power, and the mysterious and yellow air loomed around him. The other 3 nascent soul cultivators, seeing Dai Tianqi look like this, my heart is very anxious, Dong nascent soul cultivator, He Yifei said. Dai fellow Taoist, what happened? The other 2 cultivators also cast inquiries. From Dai Tianqi's eyes, they had a bad feeling. Dai Tianqi suppressed the anger in his heart forcibly, saying, Qingyunzong has captured Qianyuan Mountain, Dry Fire Pavilion, is completely destroyed. As soon as this remark came out, everyone knew that their complexion changed drastically. In other words, the civil strife in the Wu State has been settled. If Zheng Guo's 4 sects intervene in the Wu State at this time, it will be the same as the previous Qianwo Pavilion, which is the party that provoked the war. If it had been in the past, the Zhanmeng would not have been concerned about these things, but during the wasteland reclamation season, it would have been. Even Baixianmen had to give up Luo Zihong and other 4 nascent soul cultivators under the pressure of the Sword League. If they dare to provoke a war, I'm afraid that the Sword Alliance will force a shot. The most important thing is that, now that the Azure Cloud sect has captured Qianyuan Mountain, even if the 4 cultivators enter the kingdom of Wu, they will not achieve much success, because the main force of the Azure Cloud sect is already in Qianyuan Mountain. When the time comes, Taiyamen will certainly not stand idly by. In the end, they will have to face the siege of the 2 sects of the Wu Kingdom and the Zhongshan Tower and Yuanenjai. If one fails, it will cause fire. Dai Tianqi's face was pale, and after discussing with the 3 nascent souls, he said, "Turn around and head towards Qianyuan Mountain." 51%. Chapter 304. Afterwards, the 4 cultivators rushed towards Qianyuan Mountain. Their purpose was originally Qianyuan Mountain. Since Qianyuan Mountain has now fallen into the hands of Qingyunzong, then I have a good talk with Qingyunzong. If they can't agree, even if the 4 of them don't go to war with Qingyunzong, then they will not let Qingyunzong get better in the wild wars in the future. Here, after Zuo Qianji passed the news, Hu Weiwei rushed to the battlefield of Chongshanlu with about 20 golden core cultivators and more than 100 foundation building cultivators. There has been a long-term stalemate. Since Qianyuan Mountain has been captured, there should naturally be a result. Zuo Qianji and Zhou Zunyuan stayed behind. Zuo Qianji was sure that after receiving his news, Dai Tianqi would definitely turn around and come to Qianyuan Mountain. Zhou Zunyuan stayed to preside over the affairs of Qianyuan Mountain. Lin Haoyang did not leave, and Zuo Qianji stayed in Qianyuan Mountain. Lin Haoyang also stayed at Qianyuan Mountain. He found the veins this time, so he naturally had to pretend to be extremely expensive. Otherwise, a cultivation technique that can find ground veins without much cost will inevitably be jealous of others. Zuo Qianji saw this, and this allowed Lin Haoyang to stay in Qianyuan Mountain. Qianyuan Mountain is similar to Qingyan Peak, both of which are the spiritual veins of the 5th tier top grade, but the Qingyan sect is mostly a place of verdant mountains and clear waters. On the other hand, Qian Yuanfang has many strange stones, and the underground spiritual veins are closer to fire attributes. Therefore, the cultivation of spiritual roots, the cultivator of the main fire, is twice the result with half the effort. Later, Lin Haoyang followed Zhou Zunyuan to the back mountain of Qianyuan Mountain, where there was a stone cave. Before entering the cave, you can feel a scorching wave of air coming on the surface. Suddenly, Lin Haoyang's face showed unconcealable joy. He once heard that there is another treasure in Qianyuan Mountain, which leads directly to the center of the earth, and its inner fire spirit power is extremely strong. For the fire spiritual roots, it is a rare treasure. This place is also one of the temptations for the dry fire pavilion to attract the main fire spiritual roots cultivator to the mountain gate. Here, in addition to the great help to the cultivator of the main fire spiritual roots, it also plays an extremely important role in the body cultivator. At this time, Zhou Zunyuan said, "Lin fellow Taoist, thanks to you this time, otherwise sect will lose a lot." Head teacher also said that this underground flame spring has a great effect on you, as your reward. However, Master Head Teacher also said that this place may still be in the hands of Qingyunzong 1 month, and 1 month later, I am afraid that 4 cultivators will come here. At that time, Head Teacher will give up here. If you want to step in again, I am afraid it will take a long time. Quote. Listening to this, Lin Haoyang frowned. It seemed that the threat of Zheng's 4 cultivators still existed. They took Qian Yuanshan down, only to give them more capital for negotiation. But Lin Haoyang still showed excitement on his face. This month, he could accomplish many things. Then thank Head Teacher for me, Lin Haoyang said. Zhou Zunyuan waved his hand and said, Lin fellow Taoist's contribution this time is enough to endure this, then I won't say anything, there are still many things waiting for me to deal with on this mountain, I'm leaving now. Lin Haoyang nodded, then Zhou Zunyuan retreated. Looking at the entrance of the cave, Lin Haoyang's eyes showed expectations. For this treasure, Lin Haoyang still had many expectations in his heart. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang entered the cave. This treasure land has been developed by the Dry Fire Pavilion for thousands of years, and it has been extremely complete. These spiritual fires are all drawn from the center of the earth. As long as the fire in the center of the earth does not die, these spiritual fires will not be extinguished. As Lin Haoyang got deeper and deeper, he could clearly feel that the fire spirit power here became more and more pure. It's not that the concentration of spirit power here has a great ascension, but the purity of the fire spirit power here has a large ascension. If the purity of the fire spirit power of Qingyan Peak is 10, then the purity of the fire spirit power of Qianyuan Mountain is about 13. And when Lin Haoyang came to this cave for 500 meters, the purity of the fire spirit power here had already reached about 18. At 500 meters below, Lin Haoyang saw a huge platform with futons on it, about 100. These futons are supposed to be used by Qianwo Pavilion for the cultivation of the disciples under the sect, and they are doing twice the result with half the effort by cultivating here. However, there are advantages and disadvantages. The depth of 500 meters underground is almost 3 times that of the outside world. At such a high temperature, if the cultivator body is in it, the skin will feel hot, and it will not be able to calm down and cultivate. Unless you are majoring in fire cultivation technique, otherwise, only foundation building cultivator can cultivate here. Taking a look at the futon, Lin Haoyang continued to walk down. The deeper the temperature, the higher the temperature. When Lin Haoyang came to 800 meters underground, he saw some futons. There were only 30 futons left. Moreover, these futons are made of a third-order fire jade. It is not an exaggeration to say that they are a kind of magical item. The temperature here has reached 80 degrees, and it is impossible to set foot here below the foundation building. Even Lin Haoyang was drenched with sweat at the moment, and his body was very hot. However, Lin Haoyang still only took a look, and then continued to walk down. After a distance of about 100 meters, the temperature in the surrounding air was as high as Baidu. At such a high temperature, Lin Haoyang could feel that his blood even started to boil. Although Lin Haoyang has fire spiritual roots, he majored in golden spiritual roots. He has not deliberately cultivated fire spiritual roots. At this distance, the purity of the fire spirit power has reached about 22. With such a purity, even Lin Haoyang, a cultivator who does not specialize in fire spiritual roots, you can feel that the absorption of the fire spirit power has been accelerated at an unprecedented rate, almost twice that of cultivation in the outside world. Suddenly, Lin Haoyang frowned, and the fire spirit absorbed into his body was filtered by the Buddha profound technique without any problems, and it was completely converted into a black spirit power. And this conversion efficiency is even higher than the outside world. The reason why Lin Haoyang is strong in spirit power is that if someone absorbs 1 spirit power, he has to absorb 3 copies of spirit power to achieve the same effect. If the same rank cultivator wants to compete with Lin Haoyang in spirit power, it is impossible to compare Lin Haoyang. Now, Lin Haoyang has cultivated the power of the body. Even if he does not use spirit power, the same rank cultivator, he is not Lin Haoyang's opponent. Because his physical body cultivation base has reached almost the level of 50% to 6th level of golden core, which is equivalent to Lin Haoyang with a hidden attribute. Lin Haoyang gritted his teeth and continued to walk down. Although it was good here, it still couldn't achieve the effect of physical training. After that, Lin Haoyang walked forward another 200 meters. At this moment, Lin Haoyang's whole body was flushed. After arriving here, Lin Haoyang's sweat no longer flowed, and as soon as he appeared, it was directly evaporated. At this place, the temperature is about 150 degrees Celsius, and the effect of body forging is already there, but the effect is not obvious. But Lin Haoyang feels that the speed of cultivation base ascension here is 3 times that of the outside world. It is equivalent to 1 month of cultivation here, which is 3 months outside. Lin Haoyang kept walking and continued to move forward. When he reached this place, the temperature would rise by ascension every 5 meters. When Lin Haoyang felt that the temperature had reached 180 degrees, he stopped. Because in front of him, a square pool appeared. The square pool is not big, it should be able to accommodate 2 people entering at the same time. The liquid in the pool showed a red color. At that time, Lin Haoyang guessed that this was the treasure of Ganha Pavilion Yangquan. 51%. Chapter 305 The Magical Use of Fire Spirit Power. Just taking a look, Lin Haoyang could feel that the intensity of the spirit power of the fire inside was almost 6 times that of the outside world. That is to say, the purity of the spirit power of the fire in this rock spring was almost 60%. To some extent, this rock spring is a pool of spirit power fluid. As far as the purity of spirit power is concerned, the first is of course spirit stones. The purest spirit stones found in spirit power today are the highest quality spirit stones. The purity of spirit power in the best spirit stones is almost 99%, and it is spirit power without spirit power attributes. But Lin Haoyang couldn't even think of that kind of treasure. The top-grade spirit stones are all produced in the top-grade spirit stones mine, and these minerals are basically occupied by the 6th rank forces. Only the 6th rank forces can hold such resources. For nothing else, just a top-quality spirit stones are worth millions of spirit power. Without a cultivator, it would not be able to deter the greedy generation. Although this flame spring is mysterious, it can't be compared with the top-grade spirit stones, but this pool of flame spring is equivalent to the total amount of spirit power contained in 10 top-grade spirit stones, and it is also a very pure fire spirit power. Lin Haoyang smiled at the corner of his mouth. If Zuo Qianji knew that this rock spring was so valuable, I wonder if he would regret it. Since you are here, you can't waste it, and you can't afford to take advantage of the people of Zhengguo's 4 sects. Immediately, Lin Haoyang withdrew his coat and prepared to enter it. Although this Yangquan has great benefits, it is not that simple to enjoy it. In the past, the cultivator of Ganha Pavilion wanted to borrow the Yangquan cultivation, but used a special bottle to take out a little and apply it to the body for cultivation. Because the temperature of Yangquan is too high, only cultivation base of Dry Fire Pavilion's cultivator has reached the nascent soul realm, so that they dare to directly enter the Yangquan and directly absorb the spirit power inside. Lin Haoyang looked at Yangquan in front of him, and he had no bottom in his heart. If he talked about his physical body, his physical strength was no worse than nascent soul cultivator. However, Lin Haoyang was still not sure when he descended into this rock spring. He stretched out a hand, wrapped it with spirit power, and then reached into the flame spring, wanting to try how high the temperature is. The black spirit power wrapped around Zhu Lin Haoyang's arm and slowly entered the Yangquan under Lin Haoyang's control. Suddenly, the black spirit power creaked, and where Lin Haoyang's arm reached, many bubbles would explode. Obviously Lin Haoyang's spirit power was repelling the high temperature. After feeling it, Lin Haoyang frowned slightly. The temperature of this Yangquan was higher than he thought, about 1,200 Baidu. At this temperature, pig iron thrown in will also directly turn into molten iron. If it is a cultivator, it will die immediately below the golden core. Golden core cultivator, relying on a spirit power, can barely survive. The body cultivator in the golden core stage can survive completely by relying on the power of the body, but it is not for bodybuilding but for abuse. The body cultivator also has a degree. If it exceeds this degree, then it is not a body cultivator. Now Lin Haoyang is going to do it, it is how to grasp this degree. Lin Haoyang couldn't bear such a high temperature directly when he descended directly into the Yangquan. At this time, Lin Haoyang's eyes lit up, and he randomly took out a bottle of life essence. The life essence was full of vitality and could continuously transform the cultivator's body with his vitality and strengthen his physique. If Lin Haoyang took the life liquid at the same time when Lin Haoyang entered the Yangquan, I don't know how far this effect can be. Lin Haoyang is not a person who is afraid of the head and tail. Now that he has this idea, he has to give it a try. Immediately, Lin Haoyang swallowed a bottle of life essence, as usual, with an abnormal burning sensation, from the throat to the stomach, and finally all over his body. If it were in the past, Lin Haoyang would definitely urge the Buddha Zan Zhenju to dissolve this burning sensation. But this time, Lin Haoyang, instead of using the Buddha's profound reality technique to dissolve the burning sensation, instead he dispersed the spirit power and wrapped his whole body. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang stepped into the Yangquan. Although spirit power wrapped himself up, Lin Haoyang could still feel the terrifying heat. Burning inside the body and burning outside the body, two extremes, made every inch of Lin Haoyang suffer unimaginable pain. However, Lin Haoyang did not intend to quit. Instead, he constantly urged the spirit power outside his body to keep the heat outside his body within his limits. This feeling reminded Lin Haoyang of the challenge of the physical body when he was in the Nine Dragons formation, which would make Lin Haoyang feel excited for every inch of flesh and blood. After about a stick of incense, the burning sensation in the body gradually faded, and the vitality of the original life liquid began to flood Lin Haoyang's limbs. At this time, the burning sensation in Lin Haoyang's body faded, and the high temperature in the flame spring even had a tendency to flood into Lin Haoyang's body with the breakthrough spirit power shield. Just now, when the two forces fought, Lin Haoyang felt that his own body had a thread of ascension, but the magnitude of ascension was not large. At the same time, the fire spirit power in the flame spring poured directly into Lin Haoyang's body through the spirit power shield. After the purification of the profound reality technique of the Buddha, most of it was left in Lin Haoyang's body. Lin Haoyang only felt that the endless fire spirit power poured in, and then it was transformed into black spirit power, flowing into his black gold core. This feeling is as if Lin Haoyang is in the sixth order spiritual vein while holding two top-grade spirit stones cultivation at the same time. At this time, the original liquid of life also began to play a role, and some of the flesh and blood that had been injured by the two heats were directly repaired by the original liquid of life and became intact again. At this time, Lin Haoyang also released some spirit power shields, allowing more fire spirit power to pour into his body. At the same time, the heat from outside also invaded more. However, Lin Haoyang didn't care at all with the vitality of the original liquid of life, letting it burn Lin Haoyang's body. A force destroys and a force repairs. Lin Haoyang can feel that his body's resistance is constantly increasing. Especially under his skin, you can see the flame lines spreading continuously. At this time, Lin Haoyang didn't care about the changes in his whole body, but instead stimulated the vitality brought by the original liquid of life and surged towards his own leg acupoints. He wanted to use the original liquid of life to activate an acupoints again. A large amount of vitality went straight to the Chongyang acupoint on Lin Haoyang's left leg. At this moment, a burst of fire spirit power also went straight to the Chongyang acupoint with the vitality transformed by the life liquid. Lin Haoyang frowned. He didn't guide the spirit power towards the Chongyang acupoint, but just a rush of spirit power poured in, which was inexplicably biased by the vitality of the original liquid of life. Even now, Lin Haoyang couldn't stop, just watching the addition of this fire spirit power, whether it's good or bad. Soon, that powerful life force impacted on the Chongyang cave, like flowing water hitting the boulder, swaying it for a while. At this time, the fire spirit power, which had reached this point of vitality, also rushed into the Chongyang point. Lin Haoyang felt a tingling pain from the Chongyang point. Before Lin Haoyang reacted, the fire spirit power disappeared, apparently being rushed to the Chongyang point. The points are absorbed. Just as Lin Haoyang was stunned, the vitality transformed from the original liquid of life hit the Chongyang acupoint again. But the acupoints, which was originally like a big stone, loosened a lot. This sudden change made Lin Haoyang's eyes bright. 51%. Chapter 306. Although it was only loosened, Lin Haoyang could feel that it saved him a lot of time. The help of fire spirit power has saved at least half of the life force impact of the original life liquid. Although it does not seem to be much, it has greatly reduced the difficulty of Lin Haoyang's resuscitation. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang once again let out a fire spirit power and guided it to own Chongyang point. The combination of the fire spirit power and the original liquid phase of life made Lin Haoyang's resuscitation speed at least half the speed of ascension. Before, Lin Haoyang had not thought of mixing spirit power into the original liquid of life, and the second layer of the Buddha's profound Ju only said that it can use the power of foreign objects to break away acupoints. And this foreign object did not expect to include spirit power. After thinking about it, Lin Haoyang felt that the fire spirit power had this effect, and it should be inseparable from the cause of the Yangquan here. Lin Haoyang shook his head and pulled his thoughts back. No matter what the reason, he can only stay here for 1 month. He wants to use his ascension strength as much as possible to seize this opportunity. 1 month later, Dai Tianchi and others finally arrived at Qianyuan Mountain. 200 miles apart, Zhuo Qianji felt the aura of the crowd. Immediately ordered to go down and fully open the mountain guarding formation, but Zhuo Qianji's face was still heavy, and these 4 cases obviously did not want to give up Qianyuan Mountain so easily. For Qingyunzong, a Qianyuan Mountain can be worthy of several 5th-order spiritual veins in the wild. If there is a choice, it is impossible for him to give up Qianyuan Mountain. But now, the weight is higher, and the 4 cases are the same, he has nothing to do. If you want to take away Qianyuan Mountain, the 4 of you will have bleeding. Zhuo Qianji whispered. Inside Yangquan Cave, an aura flew to it, and it was the sound transmission talisman sent by Zhou Zunyuan. After the sound transmission talisman fell into the hole, after Lin Haoyang hovered around for a while, Lin Haoyang felt it, and a divine sense came from the center of his eyebrows, bringing aura into the center of his eyebrows. Perceiving the content on the sound transmission talisman, Lin Haoyang opened his eyes abruptly, and there was still a deadly flame pattern in his eyes. At this time, the spirit power of Lin Haoyang's body had long since dissipated, and there was only a shallow layer of the red spirit fluid in the Yangquan. But now Lin Haoyang's appearance still looks a little scary. His skin is covered with red lines. These lines look like Lin Haoyang's skin is chapped. Lin Haoyang shook his neck. He hadn't moved a bit for a whole month. At this moment, his skin made a crisp sound. Even with the restoration of the spirit power body and life essence, his outermost skin is still completely necrotic. Just after the crisp sound, a layer of skin on Lin Haoyang's surface, like an eggshell, fell to the ground one by one. And under the cracked skin, there is a layer that looks extremely smooth and tender, just like the skin of a newborn baby. On this new layer of skin, there was also a faint flame pattern, but it was not obvious, and only one or two breaths appeared, and then it subsided. Lin Haoyang touched his smooth and tender skin and frowned. A man with such skin made him look like a white face. However, Lin Haoyang had no choice but to take out the robe from the storage bag and put it on again. Before leaving, Lin Haoyang didn't forget to pack away the little spiritual liquid left in the Yangquan. Since Qianyuan Mountain can't be guarded, these things can't be made cheap by the people of the four sects. After taking away the spirit fluid, Lin Haoyang walked out. This time at closed-door training, Lin Haoyang did not break through the cultivation base, but has reached the peak of the second floor of the Golden Core. It is only one step away from the third floor of the Golden Core. Cultivation base progressed so fast. Thanks to this pool of spirit fluid, Lin Haoyang was equivalent to absorbing 10 top-grade spirit stones with this pool of spirit fluid alone. 100,000 spirit stones were smashed down. If the cultivation base hadn't grown, I'm afraid Lin Haoyang would be sorry for this spirit fluid. In addition to the growth on the cultivation base, Lin Haoyang's physical progress has been even greater. Now, his physical defense has been attacked by the Flying Ascension and Foundation Building Cultivator, and it is difficult to hurt Lin Haoyang again. No matter where Lin Haoyang stood, it was possible that they could not even break Lin Haoyang's skin. Ascension, even Lin Haoyang himself had never thought that if Chu Shulin was still alive, seeing Lin Haoyang being born alone would harm a pool of spiritual liquid, and she might be angered to come back to life. You know, it may take 300 years for a pool of spiritual fluid in Yangquan to condense and complete. In order to enhance the effect of the spiritual liquid, the dry fire pavilion would also put various genius treasures in it, otherwise, Lin Haoyang would not have changed so much. This is also where Lin Haoyang's doubts lie. The effect of this spirit liquid far exceeds his expectations. In addition, the acupoints on Lin Haoyang's legs have been opened 6 more. So far, Lin Haoyang has opened a total of 36 acupoints, which is only 1/3 short of completing 108 orifices. 2. As for the 6 acupoints ascension, Lin Haoyang's power also gained considerable ascension, and successfully broke through the 60,000 jin mark. This makes Lin Haoyang's physical body cultivation base roughly equivalent to the 6-layer cultivator of Golden Core. But what made Lin Haoyang depressed was that he consumed 28 bottles of original life essence, that is, 28 kilograms of original life essence. Even Lin Haoyang himself felt heartache after such a consumption, and Lin Haoyang could feel that the further acupoints came, the consumption was even greater. This is also what Xiao Jinlong once told Lin Haoyang, that the resources consumed during the 2 weekends of law and body may far exceed his imagination. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang left the Yangquan cave, found Zuo Qianji, and thanked him. Zuo Qianji looked at Lin Haoyang's changes, nodded in satisfaction, and said, "I didn't waste those things." On the side, Zhou Zunyuan frowned. Although his eyesight was not as good as Zuo Qianji's, he deeply understood the value of Yangquan. Now that Lin Haoyang has entered a month, he has not been able to break through the cultivation base, which is really strange, and even Zhou Zunyuan couldn't help asking, "Lin, fellow Taoist, isn't the stock in Yangquan running out?" Lin Haoyang's face was embarrassed. How should he explain this? Ha ha ha, you don't need to ask more about Zunyuan. Xiao Yulin has gained a great deal this time, far better than ascension on cultivation base. Zuo Qianji said. With Zuo Qianji's rescue, Lin Haoyang's complexion was relieved a lot. Zhou Zunyuan was skeptical, but when he looked at Lin Haoyang, he felt a pain in his heart, then turned his head and looked into the distance. There, a group of horses are coming in extremely fast, and the 4 breaths of nascent soul cultivator can be seen from a long distance. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang also showed a solemn expression. If this is not discussed well, I am afraid that a big battle will be inevitable. Zuo Qianji is still motionless, like 4 cultivators, which cannot be seen by him. After a stick of incense, Dai Tianchi and others came outside the Qianyuan mountain guarding formation. Once they arrived, Dai Tianchi smiled. Left fellow Taoist asked me to come and have tea, should I just stand here? Zuo Qianji still didn't move, saying, if the guest is invited, the enemy will fight. I don't know if I wear fellow Taoist, is it an enemy or a guest? 51%. Chapter 307. Seeing Zuo Qianji still so stiff, Dai Tianchi's complexion sank, and it was really difficult. Afterwards, he glanced around at the defensive force in Qianyuan Mountain and couldn't help frowning. In addition to Zuo Qianji, he only saw 7 golden core cultivators and 80 foundation building cultivators. The number of cultivators was more than 4,000. Among them, there is also a part of the surrender from the Qianwo Pavilion. These 4,000 condensing pulse cultivators are the confidence of Zuo Qianji. As long as there are 4,000 pulse cultivators, even the 4 sects of the state of Zheng, it will take 1 month to capture Qianyuan Mountain. In this month, Chongshan Tower can also mobilize a large number of cultivators here, and there is little hope that they can break Qianyuan Mountain. Moreover, once they plan to attack Zhengguo, Taiyamen and Yuananjai will certainly not stand by. They will cut off the 4 backs at that time. No matter which one they attack, they will not be able to bear it. Therefore, the 4 cases now seem to have an advantage, but Dai Tianchi knows that their advantage is not large, almost at around 46. 4 of Zuo Qianji, 6 of them, if the real fish die and the net is broken, no one can please. After clarifying the situation, Dai Tianchi said, "Where is the fellow Taoist on the left? Our family will lead each other, so naturally we are guests, how can we be enemies? We have come from a long distance, with 3 fellow Taoist, don't fellow Taoist invite us in and sit down?" Listening to this, Lin Haoyang showed a smile on his face and said, "Since fellow Taoist is a guest, let's come in." With that, Zuo Qianji flicked his hand, and the mountain guard formation in front of Dai Tianchi split a hole for Dai Tianchi to enter. Lin Haoyang couldn't help but shrink when seeing Zuo Qianji like this. For nascent soul cultivator, maybe 4 nascent souls could break into the big formation in just 1 breath. Dai Tianchi and the other 4 nascent souls saw that Zuo Qianji was like this, but it was not clear. So, did Zuo Qianji want to fight the 4 of them? This is too bad for them. Zuo Qianji's combat power was definitely one of the top 3 among Wu and Zheng in the past. Ever since the battle of Emperor Jizong's slaughter of demons, Zuo Qianji has killed the tier 5 high-grade Lihuo Brahma, plus the peak ancestor of Emperor Jizong's nascent soul. In the 2 countries of Wu and Zheng, everyone gradually believed that Zuo Qianji had become the first combat force, so it was natural that Zuo Qianji and the 2 opponents of nascent soul were naturally not a problem. But now, he is facing 4 nascent souls. In the eyes of Zhengguo's 4 cultivators, it seems a bit too big. Okay, since the left fellow Taoist has invited us, we naturally can't brush the face of the left fellow Taoist. 3 of you, go in and sit down. After Dai Tianchi finished speaking, he went straight into the gap in front of him and entered Qianyuan. In the mountains. Seeing this, He Yifei and the other 3 nascent souls also moved into the Dao Qianyuan mountain. Suddenly, on the Qianyuan mountain, 4 nascent soul auras came out majestic and scattered to all directions of Qianyuan mountain. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang couldn't help frowning. These 4 nascent soul cultivators looked unkind. At this moment, a huge 8 trigrams plate appeared behind Zuo Qian's fuselage, reaching a height of several tens of meters, even reaching the top of the mountain guard array. Lin Haoyang just took a look at this array, and found that he was as transparent as he was seen by Zuo Qianji. There were countless runes flashing on the array. Among them, Lin Haoyang didn't even know any of them. Lin Haoyang swallowed secretly. This was the first time Lin Haoyang saw Zuo Qianji in such a state. This 8 trigrams technique of 6 changes was truly terrifying. The 4 nascent soul cultivators also changed their faces. Although they would not have a sense of transparency, the 4 of them could feel that their weaknesses were infinitely magnified. The battle of the nascent soul cultivator may last for several days or even months. When another manpower is exhausted, the battle is over. There is another one, which is to end the battle in a short time. Whether it is a spell or a magical item, the nascent soul cultivator is extremely powerful. If you don't pay attention, you may fall. Now that everyone's weaknesses are clearly seen by Zuo Qianji, then Zuo Qianji will inevitably choose the second type of desperate battle. With such a disadvantage, even if they had the advantage in numbers, they would have to pay unbearable if they wanted to win Lin Haoyang. Do you want to fight? I'm sure to leave 3 of the 4 of you. Can you bear this price? Zuo Qianji said indifferently. Dai Tianchi's expression changed. Among the 4, his cultivation base was the highest, reaching the 7th level of golden core. However, when facing Zuo Qianji, he could not feel any chance of winning. As for Zuo Qianji's 4 saves 1, he has no doubts, and he is sure that the 3 of them must include him. Cultivating to nascent soul realm, they all cherish their own lives. They don't dare to take some risks, and they don't want to take some risks. Immediately, Dai Tianchi and the others dissipated their momentum and said with a smile. Left fellow Taoist, since I'm here for tea, what about life and death? Immediately, Dai Tianqi landed on the futon in front of Zhuo Qian's fuselage and sat down unceremoniously. The other 3 nascent soul cultivators also played haha, and then they all settled down. The previous anger and gloom disappeared, as if they were really here this time. Lin Haoyang and Zhou Zunyuan watched for a while. What's the situation? What about force deterrence? Seeing everyone sitting down, Zhuo Qianji smiled on his face and put away the 8 trigrams plate behind him. The 4 fellow Taoists came here, presumably because of this spiritual vein. My Qingyun is no better than the 4 sects of Zheng State, and my net worth is thinner. In order to lay down this spiritual vein, it is considered to be exhausting, so it is not impossible for the 4 of you to want this spiritual vein. As long as you take out 8 million spirit stones and 10 purple cloud crystals, it will be fine. You won't have any opinions on such a cost-effective thing. Zhuo Qianji said. Dai Tianqi's smile suddenly froze. 8 million spirit stones plus 10 purple cloud crystals, although the price is about the same as that of a tier 5 top-grade spirit vein that has been in business for thousands of years. But in this way, they have suffered too much. It is better to enclave directly to lay a wild 5th-order spiritual vein. Lin fellow Taoist joked. Now this year, no one has much surplus in his hand. 8 million spirit stones, this number is too big. Dai Tianqi said. Listening to this, Zhuo Qianji frowned and said, I bought it for you at a loss, but you are not willing. Do you want to grab it? The expressions of Dai Tianqi, He Yifei and others changed. They really wanted to grab it before. If you weren't so powerful, I'm afraid this spiritual vein would have fallen into their hands. In the hearts of the 4, they couldn't help cursing Chu Shulan's uselessness, sitting on the big array, even unable to hold on for 3 days. As long as they can hold for 3 days, they will be able to rush to the territory of Wu Kingdom. At that time, Zhuo Qianji had no choice but to accept their proposal and surrender the 2 million spirit stones to Qianyuan Mountain. But now that the overall situation is gone, and Zhuo Qianji's combat power is so terrifying, they can only discuss it again. Left fellow Taoist, the number of 8 million is too big, we have no right to take it out, but the 4 of us can call the shots. Each family takes out 4 million spirit stones and 4 purple cloud crystals. So, it is our 4 families. The biggest concession, Dai Tianqi said. When Zhuo Qianji heard this, his brow furrowed. 405 spirit stones were no longer a decimal, but compared with Qian Yuanshan's value, it was only half. Zhuo Qianji thought for a while before saying, 4 million spirit stones, buy the right to use Qianyuan Mountain for 100 years, and Qingyunzong will take back this spiritual vein after 100 years. 52%. Chapter 308. When Zhuo Qianji said this, Lin Haoyang's eyes lit up. Zhuo Qianji was so confident, it turned out he had planned for a long time. Lease out Qianyuan Mountain for 100 years, and take back Qianyuan Mountain's spiritual veins after 100 years. This is an excellent thing for Qingyun sect and the 4 cultivators. For Qingyunzong, not only did they avoid a battle with the 4 sects of Zheng, they also avoided the management of Qianyuanshan in the second time. It is not an easy task to manage a 5th-tier high-grade spiritual vein. At least 1 nascent soul cultivator is needed to guard it. Now Qingyun sect has only 2 nascent soul cultivators, which already occupy 2 5th-tier spiritual veins. It can be said that the Azure Cloud sect's expansion limit has been reached. If you wait for Zhou Zunyuan's success in forming a baby, then occupying a 5th-order spiritual vein will no longer have any problems. In addition, the number of surrenders and vein-condensing cultivators in Qianyuan Mountain will also be ascension by a large margin. In addition, the 4 cultivators are not really short of a tier 5 spiritual vein. Now that the Wild War has started, the most indispensable is the spiritual vein. They want Qianyuan Mountain because they value the complete facilities of Qianyuan Mountain. When they come to Qianyuan Mountain, they only need to prepare to attack the barbarians, saving the countless trouble of 4 cultivators. Dai Tianqi frowned slightly when he heard Zhuo Qianji's suggestion. Before, they had no plans to rent Qian Yuanshan. But now it seems that renting Qianyuan Mountain is probably the best plan today. 100 years is enough for them to deploy in the wild. They can also afford the rent of 10,000 spirit stones per year. Dai Tianqi thought about it, and finally said, Left fellow Taoist, let me wait to discuss it. I'll give a reply. Zhuo Qianji nodded, please clean up. Then the 4 nascent soul cultivators joined forces to prop up a spirit power shield, and then they began to discuss, and even each took out a leaf of the mother-child message tree to pass the news back to the mountain gate. Lin Haoyang saw this with a smile on his face and said, Head teacher is still good. This game is very good. Yes. In this way, our trip is not a loss, and our pressure has been reduced. Zhou Zunyuan said. Having said this, Lin Haoyang showed a worried look on his face and said, I just don't know if Zheng Guo's 4 cases will agree to our terms. At this moment, Zhuo Qianji said, they will definitely agree. The 4 head teachers are all better than foxes. I can think of it, they will naturally think of. Soon after Zhuo Qianji said this, the 4 nascent soul cultivators opened the spirit power shields and said with smiles on their faces. The proposal of the left fellow Taoist, I have agreed to all 4 of them, and when I go back to get the spirit stones and Xian Jing, I will come to take over Qianyuan Mountain. Zhuo Qianji nodded, flicked his hand, and the mountain guard formation once again split a big hole. The 4 nascent souls bowed to Zhuo Qianji and then left Qianyuan Mountain. After going out, they immediately returned to the kingdom of Zheng with all the golden core cultivators. Seeing the departure of the 4 cultivators, everyone was relieved that Qingyunzong finally survived this disaster. In this battle, the Azure Cloud sect consumed more than 1 million spirit stones, plus the compensation and rewards, and the Azure Cloud sect had to spend about 3 million spirit stones. If you can win Qianyuan Mountain and go to war with the 4 sects, I am afraid that the Azure Cloud sect will be in an absolute downturn in the next 100 years. Because now, Qingyunzong can't even offer the monthly spirit stones for sect disciples. But fortunately, when the Dry Fire Pavilion was captured, Qingyunzong took a heavy spirit stones mine, plus the one that was previously divided equally with Dry Fire Pavilion, and a small mine in Qingyunzong's own territory. Qingyunzong's annual spirit stones mine, the output of stones reached 250,000 spirit stones. In addition, there are also some minerals and medicine fields, which are also expensive. The most important thing is that on Qianyuan Mountain, I found a 5-element spirit fruit, this kind of good thing that is helpful for infant birth. Zhuo Qianji will naturally not be left to the 4 cultivators, I'll let Lin Xuanlin transplant it back to Qingyun Peak. In addition, there are a large number of precious elixir, which Lin Xuanlin has not let go, especially the main medicine for refining the foundation building pill Jinji Purple Marrow. Lin Xuanlin did not leave a single plant, and moved all back to Qingyunzong Peak. There are 2 refining methods for foundation building pills, one is to use the inner pill of Tier 4 demonic beasts, and the other is to use Jinji Purple Marrow. The maturation period of Jinji Purple Marrow is too long as 800 years. Only sect and aristocratic families who survive long enough can cultivate a large number of Jinji Purple Marrow. With these transplants of Jinji and Purple Marrow, Qingyunzong no longer has to open a furnace to refine a furnace of foundation building Dan every 10 years. From now on, every 5 years, 1 furnace of foundation building pill will be refined, which will allow the Azure Cloud sect to cultivate the foundation building cultivator at a much faster rate. The output of foundation building Dan quickly caught up with the older sects such as Donghazong. Compared with Dong sect, the number of nascent soul cultivator is not bad, but there is still a gap in the number of foundation building and golden core. However, with the transplantation of Xian Crystal Mine and this large number of Jinji and Purple Marrow, only 5 in 10 years, Qingyunzong will catch up, or even overtake. These days, Lin Xuanlin is busy turning around. She has to transfer all of these out before the 4 cultivators come, otherwise, she can only leave them to the 4 cultivators. Due to time constraints, some Tier 4 elixir failed to survive. In the end, the survival rate of all the elixir was only 70%, which was a lot of losses, and this was when Lin Haoyang exchanged Lin Xuanlin for a Tier 4 high-grade spiritual planter technique, allowing Lin Xuanlin to reach a Tier 4 middle-grade spiritual planter. Otherwise, the loss will be even greater. In addition to the transfer of spiritual plants, there is also the transfer of cultivator and population. This is the most important thing. Lin Haoyang and Zhou Zunyuan were responsible for this, and Lin Haoyang sorted out all the people who surrendered the Dry Fire Pavilion. There are 2 golden cores in total, 30 in the foundation building, and 2,000 in the foundation building. Most of these people surrendered in Qianyuan Mountain, and only a few gathered from all over the Qianwo Pavilion realm. Lin Haoyang took this group of people to the battlefield of Chongshanlu, ready to help Chongshanlu win the Baixianmen. Zhou Zunyuan was responsible for moving the mortals in the Dry Fire Pavilion towards the Azure Cloud sect. Not all of them have migrated into the Qingyunzong territory, but they still have to migrate to Chenjiangya and Fanyu Mountain. Fanyu Mountain is about to migrate millions of mortals and 200,000 mortals in Chenjiangya. Because of the large migration distance, the migration is adopted section by section, close to Qingyun sect, and to 2 places, close to Qianyuan Mountain, and to the direction of Qingyun sect. This is a huge project. It may take a year, and some Zhou Zunyuan is busy. But there is no way. Population is the key to sect's foothold. If there is not enough population, where will new cultivators with spiritual roots appear? In the final analysis, population is the foundation of sect's millennia and tens of thousands of years. Just like demon cultivator, it will also looting children with spiritual roots every year, otherwise demon cultivator will be cut off because there is no successor. Because of the large number of cultivators, Lin Haoyang drove a month's journey before he came to this place in the Chongshan Tower. When he got here, Lin Haoyang knew that this spiritual vein was called Donglishan, and the battlefield here was called a grand scale. More than 10 nascent soul cultivators were dispatched, and the battle fluctuations were earth-shaking. It can be seen that Zhongshan Tower occupies the absolute upper peak, but Baixianmen is firmly guarded, and Zhongshan Tower is also difficult to attack. This battle has also been going on for almost half a year, and the spirit stones consumed by both sides amounted to millions. 52%. Chapter 309. This battle, added up, has lasted almost a year, and Chongshanlu has not dispatched too many low-level cultivators. The consumption is not too great, but during the 3 months of besieging Donglishan, the consumption of Zhongshan Tower was almost 3 times that of Qingyunzong. Because there are also 4 nascent soul cultivators in Donglishan, if you want to take Donglishan, Zhongshan Tower will have to pay a higher price. The Chongshan Tower was expensive, and Luo Zihong and others were uncomfortable. During the last 3 days of the siege of Qianyuan Mountain by Qingyunzong, in order to hold Zheng Jicheng and others, the cultivator of Baixianmen ventured out of the defensive formation. However, the original few golden core cultivators lost 3 more people. Another nascent soul cultivator was seriously injured and almost lost his combat power. At that time, he was able to escape into the defensive formation. It was Luo Zihong who used a Tier 5 spirit power to repel the pursuit of Zheng Jicheng and others. However, the risky harassment caused all 4 nascent souls of Baixianmen to be wounded, their combat power was greatly reduced, and they did not dare to step out of the defensive formation. Like Zhongshan Tower, Baixianmen does not have too many low-level cultivators to support the formation, and can only rely on spirit stones and 4 nascent soul cultivators to support it. Later, Hu Weiwei once again brought 20 golden cores and many foundation buildings, making it more difficult for Luo Zihong and others to support it. Today, Lin Haoyang once again brings reinforcements. Although there are not many high-rank cultivators, more than 2,000 coagulation cultivators have become the last straw to break through Donglishan. The huge population gap makes it extremely difficult for Baixianmen to defend the defensive formation. In the formation, the 4 nascent souls of Baixianmen gathered together. Luo Zihong looked tired, and glanced at the crowd. He knew that he was the one who killed these 3 fellows, or if he was tough to attack Moon Lake, he would not fall into such a situation. In sect, nascent soul cultivator is also the absolute high level of sect besides Washan. Today, Baixianmen is oppressed by Zhongshan Tower and can only cut off the relationship with them, and they have no more power. From brilliance to trough, it was just between one thought. It can be said that all of this was caused by Luo Zihong's greed. In order to make up for the loss, Luo Zihong is overdrawing his origin these days and is trying his best to maintain the formation. Although Chu Shulin is not able to integrate nascent soul with the formation, Luo Zihong's origin consumption is also extremely large. This kind of consumption of the origin, I am afraid that Luo Zihong's path will end here. Everyone, it is Luo Zihong who is sorry to make you fall to this point. This time the Azure Cloud sect has sent a large number of low-level cultivators, which also shows that the Azure Cloud sect has already reached a cooperation with the 4 sects of Zheng Kingdom, and we have no hope. With the addition of these low-level cultivators, I am afraid that we can only last for another half a month. Since I am sorry, I, Luo Zihong, will definitely give an explanation to the 3. Since the big array will be broken sooner or later, we might as well be one step ahead, so we can still have a glimmer of life. After 3 days, we took the initiative to break the formation. I will hold the Tier 5 magic talisman and drag the nascent soul cultivator in the Chongshan Tower. The 3 of you will find the opportunity and flee separately. Although it is difficult to return to Baixianmen, with the 3-person cultivation base, you can still get away. Subsequently, Luo Zihong began to make arrangements, preparing to create an opportunity for everyone in Baixianmen. Although Zheng Jichang and others could not feel the situation in the formation, the transfer of the people from the Baixianmen was very abnormal, so they guessed that the people from the Baixianmen must have some plans. However, there are formations separated, and the people in Zhongshan Tower have no choice but to stand up and increase their attack on Donglishan. Lin Haoyang watched the personnel mobilization in Dongli Mountain. He always felt that this group of people would be desperate. 3 days later, Chongshanlu's attack was still fierce, but Baixianmen's resistance began to become weak, and even the formation became shaky. At this moment, the formation of Donglishan trembled, and everyone inadvertently broke through the mountain guard formation, and then a Taoist shadow flew out of it. It was Luo Zihong. Lin Haoyang moved his left hand, a fifth-order magic talisman, with overwhelming power, threw it to the Chongshan Tower and the crowd of low-level cultivator. At this point, Luo Zihong still did not stop, only to see his hands moved. 10 fourth-order magic talisman appeared in his hand, still shooting towards the low-level cultivator. This demonic beasts caused the 5th-order magical talisman and 10 4th-order magical talisman to fall into the crowd, and the heavy mountain building in Qingyunzong suffered a great loss. Seeing this, the 2 nascent souls immediately moved and intercepted them. And at this moment, the East Lishan fled everywhere, and the foundation building, golden core, and nascent soul cultivator fled one after another. Not all of the nascent soul cultivators on the Chongshan Tower intercepted the charms. The nascent soul late stage and the 3 nascent soul middle stages who dared to come to the Chongshan Tower came to the east to kill the cultivator, wanting to intercept the escaped cultivator. But at this moment, Luo Zihong shouted and greeted the 4 nascent souls. That's right, Luo Zihong dragged the 4 nascent soul cultivators with one person. Luo Zihong's tricks are completely self-defeating, and the rhythm of attacking the enemy's 800, even his nascent soul is also urged by him to drag a nascent soul cultivator. Seeing Luo Zihong doing this, Hu Weiwei, Su Qin, and Ziyan immediately turned around and chased after the 3 golden cores of Baixianmen. As for Zheng Jichang, he was trying to block the 5th-tier middle-rank talisman, most of the golden core foundation building cultivator in Zhongshan Tower and Qingyunzong. After a while, he wanted to chase after the cultivator who had escaped from Baixianmen. Only a few people were left to block the magic talisman, and not far from Lin Haoyang, a 4th-tier middle rank and a 4th-tier low-rank magic talisman fell. And there is no other golden core near him, so if the pulse and foundation building cultivator around him will suffer greatly. Lin Haoyang didn't have time to hunt down the cultivator who escaped from Baixianmen. The black dragon streamer flew out and wrapped the huge fireballs into the 4th-order low-grade magic talisman to prevent his power from leaking. As for the Tier 4 middle-grade magic talisman, Lin Haoyang first blocked it with the Sword of Killing Intent. Because time was too short, Lin Haoyang didn't have time to sacrifice more magical items. After the Sword of Killing Intent weakened by 3 points, Lin Haoyang held Junyu to greet him, directly blessed the blood, and shook this magical talisman forcibly. When everyone saw the magic talisman calling, they originally scattered and fled, but Lin Haoyang showed his power, stopped the 2 magic talisman, and looked directly at the people. After 3 breaths, he walked out of the powerful aftermath of the dragon talisman, and his whole life was scorched. Although he looked extremely embarrassed, his injury was not serious. With the Sword of Killing Intent, some might be destroyed, and Zhenyu regrets that the strength he himself bears is not great. After taking a look at Zheng Jichang's direction, he found that he had also successfully stopped the magic talisman, which was relieved. Afterwards, he performed the technique of escaping the flames and went straight to the cultivator who had escaped from Baixianmen to chase and kill him. Seeing this, the low-level cultivators rescued by him also came back to their senses, and went to Lishan to kill. After a stick of incense, Luo Zihong of Nascent Soul Late Stage was pierced into his heart with a sword of Nascent Soul Late Stage of Chongshan Tower, and he learned about his life. Soon afterwards, his Nascent Soul was also beheaded by 4 people, Nascent Soul was destroyed, Luo Zihong fell completely, and there was no possibility of rebirth. 1 Nascent Soul Late Stage fell like this, but he used his life to buy a stick of incense for the 3 Nascent Soul cultivators of Baixianmen. With a stick of incense, the chances of them escaping the Chongshan Tower chase and killing them were much greater. This can be regarded as making up for the guilt in his heart, and fighting for a chance of escape for everyone in Baixianmen. 52%. Chapter 310. The 4 Nascent Soul glanced at Luo Zihong, who looked extremely crippled, and then incinerated his body. This is a respectable opponent, and then the 4 Nascent Soul cultivators also chased in the direction where the Baixianmen fled. With the speed of Nascent Soul Cultivator, it takes time to escape a stick of incense first. In addition, Baishianmen is best at all kinds of arts of immortality, and the opportunity is great. Judging from the 2 Tier 5 Spirit Talisman they took out, there must be 1 Tier 5 Spirit Talisman among the 3, and Tier 5 Spirit Talisman must have a talisman to escape from in their hands. The 3 of Hu Weiwei wanted to stop them with great difficulty. Now the 4 of them can only hurry up to see if they can stop 2 of them. The worst is Zheng Jicheng. I don't know if the magician who made the magical talisman is the main fire spiritual roots. This 5th order middle grade magical talisman is also a fire attributed magical talisman. Zheng Jicheng insisted on accepting this magic talisman, and Zheng Jicheng was not comfortable. The most important thing is that a wave of extreme sun has penetrated into Zheng Jicheng's body, destroying her body at all times. He can only continuously wrap it up with his own blood, so that the damage will be less. Zheng Jicheng was originally damaged, but now he is absorbed into the body by this extremely young force. I am afraid that after this time, it will not take long before he will sit and leave. Zheng Jicheng couldn't help but smile at his own state. If he didn't exchange the red crystal he obtained for the 5th order teleportation array, but instead exchanged it for a spiritual object that supplements the life source, he would not fall into this situation. Slightly suppressing the injuries in his body, he also killed the cultivators who had escaped from Baishianmen. Although he was injured, he still managed to capture the Golden Core Foundation building, which can reduce a lot of casualties. It is also his last force for sect. When Zheng Jicheng left, a woman suddenly appeared where Zheng Jicheng was waiting. This person is Lin Xiaowen. In these years, she has worshipped Zheng Jicheng as a teacher. Zheng Jicheng has no hidden personalities, and has passed all his own knowledge to Lin Xiaowen. Being kind to Lin Xiaowen even attracted the jealousy of her senior brothers and sisters, and she has been ostracized in recent years. Among the disciples, Lin Xiaowen loves Zheng Jicheng the most. Seeing Zheng Jicheng alone to intercept the Tier 5 magic talisman today, Bian Yiji was worried about it. $@ at carat. And she also found that Zheng Jicheng's face had become extremely ugly. It was obvious that he had suffered a serious injury. In addition to his original damage, Lin Xiaowen understood that Zheng Jicheng might not have much time to live. How could it bear to watch Zheng Jicheng pass away like this, but with her strength and ability, she couldn't help much at all. So she was the first to think of coming to Lin Haoyang, so she immediately chased in Lin Haoyang's direction. Lin Haoyang, after pursuing with all his might, killed 2 foundation building cultivators along the way, and is now chasing a golden core middle stage cultivator. Lin Haoyang fully urged the art of escaping the flames and fire, and the speed was not slower than the golden core late stage. Only then did he catch up with the golden core cultivator. This golden core is very clever. He didn't flee to the inland of the human race, but went straight to the wilderness. As long as he entered the wilderness, I am afraid that Chongshan Tower and Qingyunzong's foundation building would not dare to chase him too hard. However, Lin Haoyang was such a ruthless person. He knew that he had already delayed a lot of time when he stopped 2 magic charms. If he went to the northern part of the eastern Lishan mountain and the inland of the human race, he would definitely not gain much. So after solving the 2 magic charms, he chased straight in the direction of the wild. Along the way, he met a lot of people with such ideas. Lin Haoyang did not take action on the pulse cultivator. After the cultivation base reached a certain level, he could no longer take action on the low-level cultivator. This is the consensus of cultivators. For the golden core cultivator, the cultivator can be solved with a flick of the finger, and it is no different from the cultivator slaughtering mortals at will. Mass killings will be disgusted by heavenly Tao, so high-ranked cultivator will not attack low-ranked cultivator. If these cultivators can escape alive, it is because they are lucky and should not be killed. As for the foundation building cultivator, Lin Haoyang did not have so many scruples. After stepping into the foundation building, he officially embarked on the path of immortality, life and death. After another half hour, Lin Haoyang finally caught up with the golden core middle stage cultivator. The golden core middle stage cultivator of Baishianmen couldn't escape, so he stopped and prepared for a decisive battle with Lin Haoyang. Seeing it stopped, he also dissipated the dry flame escape technique, revealing his true body, so he couldn't hide it from the cultivation base on the 2nd floor of the golden core. The cultivation base of the golden core middle stage cultivator was on the 5th floor of the golden core. Seeing Lin Haoyang, his eyes suddenly showed ecstasy. On that day, he invaded Moon Lake, and this person did not go there, so Lin Haoyang's combat power only stayed on the surface. Although the escape technique that Lin Haoyang showed just now was extremely astonishing, in the end he only thought that Lin Haoyang was a strong escape technique. Boy, there is a way to heaven, you don't walk in, and there is nowhere to break in. Golden Core Middle Stage Cultivator said with joy. Immediately, he took out a 3-meter long stick. This stick came from a Tier 4 mid-grade power magical item. It was the magical item that he spent all his wealth to make. Although he is not a system, he is the main soil of spiritual roots, he is naturally strong, and he has no lack of cultivation of the body. In the same rank cultivator, except for the body cultivator, power absolutely has an absolute advantage. Therefore, he specially refined this kind of power magical item. In the fighting method, he is even comparable to the Golden Core late-stage master of the 7-layer Golden Core. That's why, after seeing Lin Haoyang only had the 2nd level of Golden Core, his face showed ecstasy. With his strength, Lin Haoyang was not the enemy of one harmony at all. When Lin Haoyang saw this stick, a smile appeared at the corner of Lin Haoyang's mouth. This is not a big sword in front of Guangong. The Golden Core cultivator didn't talk nonsense with Lin Haoyang, but directly urged the big stick to hit Lin Haoyang. During his urging, the big rod became bigger and directly turned into a thick huge pillar, which was smashed from Lin Haoyang's head. Just when the giant pillar was about to fall on top of Lin Haoyang's head, Lin Haoyang lifted his right hand, and when he fell slightly, he took it down. Well, yes, you use the cultivation base to stimulate. The strength is about 50,000 caddies, the ordinary Golden Core early stage. Under this stick, it will definitely be too much. But I am no longer such an ordinary one. Quote, after Lin Haoyang finished speaking, he suddenly hugged the giant column with both hands, turned both hands, the giant column was picked up by Lin Haoyang, and hit the Golden Core cultivator of Baixianmen. The Golden Core cultivator's complexion changed wildly. He did not expect that Lin Haoyang could take this strike from him, and he had not received the slightest damage. Seeing Lin Haoyang picked up his own magical item and smashed it at himself, the Golden Core cultivator looked like he had seen a ghost, and immediately pinched the magic decision to retract the own magical item to the size of 3 meters. When Lin Haoyang saw the giant pillar turned into a long stick, his face suddenly went dark, and said, "You are boring." Immediately holding a long stick, kill the Golden Core cultivator. Golden Core cultivator wanted to vomit blood in his heart, and he had never seen such a brazen person. But seeing Lin Haoyang killed him, he was even more anxious. In order to refine this magical item, he smashed all his belongings in. He wanted to recall the long stick, but Lin Haoyang's hands seemed like infinite power. No matter how the long stick struggled, he didn't respond at all. Now that there is no other magical item in his hand, he can't compete with Lin Haoyang at all. Lin Haoyang also saw the dilemma of the Golden Core cultivator, but he was not a soft-hearted person, so he greeted him with a stick. The Golden Core cultivator saw that the situation was wrong and fled to the wild again. For a cultivator without magical item, Lin Haoyang chased him and beat him. It took half an hour to kill him with a stick. When he died in own magical item, he was also very aggrieved. Just when Lin Haoyang was about to leave, looking for another Baixianmen remnant party, Lin Xiaowen searched for it. I saw Lin Xiaowen's eyes flushed from a distance, and Lin Haoyang secretly said a bad word in his heart, and hurriedly went straight to Lin Xiaowen. 52%. Chapter 311 Lin Xiaowen's helplessness. Lin Haoyang was worried, thinking that something happened in the family, and even more afraid of hearing bad news. Xiaowen, what's the matter? Is there something wrong at home? Lin Haoyang asked. Lin Xiaowen bit her lower lip and shook her head. When Lin Haoyang saw this, she was a little relieved. As long as it wasn't the bad news from home, other problems could always be solved as long as they thought of a solution. Since there is nothing wrong at home, what's the matter with you? Lin Haoyang asked again. Lin Xiaowen felt a pain in her heart, and immediately told Lin Haoyang about Zheng Jicheng. In Lin Xiaowen's heart, Lin Haoyang was the person she trusted the most. When encountering difficulties, she also remembered Lin Haoyang the first time. But this time, she was not sure. After all, Zheng Jicheng is the nascent soul cultivation base, and there is not much to do with the own state. Even if Lin Haoyang has some means, but because the cultivation base is not enough, I am afraid it will be difficult to solve this degree of trouble. But for some reason, she still wanted to find Lin Haoyang the first time. Just like a child encounters difficulties, the first time she always thinks of own father. In Lin Xiaowen's mind, Lin Haoyang is no different from his father. After listening to Lin Xiaowen's words, Lin Haoyang was shocked. Although he knew something about Zheng Jicheng, he didn't expect to have reached this point. Originally, he wanted to find time to send a piece of life crystal to Zheng Jicheng's hands, but now it seems that the time brooks no delay and must be sent to him immediately. Lin Haoyang wiped away the tears from Lin Xiaowen's face and said, "Xiaowen is so big." She still shed tears. "Don't worry, Zheng Senior's situation, I have a solution. Although I don't know if it can be eradicated, there is no problem if I live longer for decades." Quote. Lin Xiaowen was overjoyed when she heard this, and she hugged Lin Haoyang's arm and said, "Really, you can't lie to me." Lin Haoyang smiled at the corner of his mouth and said, "When did I lie to you?" Lin Xiaowen believed that Lin Haoyang really had a way, but she couldn't think of where the magic of Lin Haoyang could even solve this matter. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang returned to Donglishan with Lin Xiaowen. Lin Haoyang killed a golden core and 2 foundation buildings all the way. It was already a high record. Even if he returned early, no one could say anything. On the way, Lin Haoyang told Lin Xiaowen about the life crystal. As for its origin, Lin Haoyang temporarily mentioned it. Although Lin Xiaowen is sheltered by Zheng Jicheng, and her own cultivation base has come to the 6th floor of the Golden Core, the immortal tomb is very important. It is possible that the cultivator will be alarmed, so Lin Xiaowen still doesn't know how good it is. When Lin Haoyang and the two returned to Donglishan, not many people returned. After all, the cultivator of Baixianmen ran for a while, and it was not that simple to catch up again. After waiting for a long time, the cultivator of Zhongshan Tower and Qingyunzong also began to return one after another, and everyone's faces were full of joy. This big victory has finally released their long-standing emotions. But Lin Xiaowen's face was still worried. She was afraid of Zheng Jicheng's accident. That night, Zheng Jicheng returned as the first nascent soul cultivator. In this pursuit, he did not find the 3 nascent soul cultivators of Baixianmen. He killed 2 golden cores and helped the disciples of Chongshanlu and Qingyunzong by the way. Solved the opponent and returned. When he came back, Zheng Jicheng's complexion was extremely bad, and his pale face, from time to time, there was a red glow running under his skin. This Wagwang is the power of the extremely sun that penetrated into his body. Although he is a different spiritual roots, but the wind assists the fire, he has nothing to do with this power of the sun. At this moment, many internal organs in his body have been burned by this extremely young power. When Zheng Jicheng returned, Lin Xiaowen looked for the past, and Lin Haoyang followed along. Zheng Jicheng's condition is not good, and everyone has seen it, especially some of Lin Xiaowen's senior brothers and sisters, squatting at the entrance of Zheng Jicheng's immortal cave unkindly. They all looked concerned, but Lin Xiaowen knew that her senior brothers and sisters were probably planning Zheng Jicheng's belongings. After Zheng Xiaoxi's death, Zheng Jicheng had no relatives in his family, only the disciples who scared him, but these disciples were not spiritual roots, so Zheng Jicheng was not very concerned about them. Usually it is only on demand and given some resources and opportunities, I have asked more about it. It was not until he found that Lin Xiaowen could inherit the legacy, that he began to take care of his disciples. Because of this, Zheng Jicheng's first 7 disciples, 5 golden core and 2 foundation building, all held a grudge against his prejudice. Zheng Jicheng knew, but he couldn't help it. His experience was limited, and he seldom managed to face 7 disciples. In front of Zheng Jicheng's gate, a total of 4 people came back, 3 golden core late stage and 1 golden core middle stage. Seeing Lin Xiaowen came here, a middle-aged male monk. Lin Xiaowen, the teacher respects the injury. If you don't see anyone, please leave. Lin Xiaowen was worried about Zheng Jicheng's injury, so she couldn't care to talk with them, and shouted, "Get out of the way and let me see the master." However, the 4 golden cores stood in front of Lin Xiaowen, preventing Lin Xiaowen from approaching the gate of Immortal Cave for half a step, and the 9-story golden core cultivator headed by them broke out all over the cultivation base. Lin Xiaowen could not bear it, she was immediately bounced away and fell backward. Seeing this, Lin Haoyang frowned, and a flashing body appeared behind Lin Xiaowen, holding it up to prevent her from falling to the ground. However, Lin Xiaowen already had red eyes and shouted in her mouth, "Brother Song, let me see the master. I brought the master something to heal his injuries." The big disciple of Zheng Jicheng, Song Shishong on the 9th floor of Golden Core said with disdain, "Lin Xiaowen, what's the situation with the master, don't you know? Just rely on you to bring healing spirits to the master, don't not wanting face. Now the master, his old man is injured, and he is trying his best to suppress the injury, and no one is seen." Quote. Lin Xiaowen also knew that nothing she said was useless, and Song Shishang couldn't let her in. Godfather. Before Lin Xiaowen finished speaking, she listened to Lin Haoyang. It's okay, just a few fishes. Then Junyu flew out of Lin Haoyang's storage bag and was held in his hand. Long Yuan, the sword of killing intent, the deep blue eye, the black dragon flag, and the long stick also flew out one after another and then floated around Lin Haoyang. If you don't want to die, let's make a way. On the opposite side, the 4 golden cores saw the magical item that Lin Haoyang had so won, and they were all taken aback. A golden core early stage was once so rich. When Song Shishang saw this, his face was even more pale. If it weren't for Zheng Jicheng's entrance to Immortal Cave, he would definitely fight with him. But fighting here will inevitably alarm Zheng Jicheng, and when asked at that time, he will not be able to hand it over. Oh, just as everyone was facing each other, a sigh came from the Immortal Cave, and then Zheng Jicheng said, "You all come in, I am running out of time, just to announce the funeral." When Lin Xiaowen heard this, her eyes suddenly reddened, she pulled Song Shishang away, and ran into Immortal Cave. Song Shishang glanced at Lin Haoyang, and then walked in with the other 3. Originally, it was inconvenient for Lin Haoyang to listen to this kind of thing as an outsider, but he was worried that Lin Xiaowen would suffer, so he followed in. Entering the Immortal Cave, I saw Zheng Jicheng sitting on the futon, his aura declining, and there was an extremely sun qi flowing around his body. Lin Xiaowen knelt beside Zheng Jicheng with a desperate face. Just now, Zheng Jicheng told him. He is exhausted with his original source, unless he Dao is able to make a move, otherwise other spiritual things will only continue to live. When Lin Haoyang came in, Lin Xiaowen cried out, "Godfather, take that thing out quickly and let the master take it down." Without hesitation, Lin Haoyang tapped the storage bag, and the life crystal appeared in his hand. In fact, after seeing Zheng Jicheng's appearance, he was not sure whether the life crystal was still useful. 52%. Chapter 312. As soon as the life crystal came out, a strong breath of life spread over the surface, instantly filling the entire Immortal Cave. When Song Shishang and other 4 foundation building cultivators saw this, their faces suddenly showed greed. Needless to say, this thing in Lin Haoyang's hands is definitely an amazing treasure. Zheng Jicheng also felt this vitality, and then opened his cloudy eyes, showing hope in them, but then they went out again. "Oh, Lin Xiaoyu, it seems that this thing has nothing to do with me. If I can meet this thing before the start of this war, then I can live for decades. But now, the source of my body is completely exhausted, coupled with the destruction of the power of the extreme sun, my physical body has also lost its vitality. Even if I use this treasure, it is empty and not supplemented, and these vitality will only disperse. It doesn't work for me anymore," Zuo Qianji said hoarsely. After Lin Haoyang listened, his hand holding the life crystal trembled. He didn't expect that he was still a step late. Listening to this, Lin Xiaowen couldn't stop her tears, and she cried loudly when she hugged Zheng Jicheng's arm. After hearing this, Song Shishang and others felt relieved. Just when Lin Haoyang took out the life crystal, they were worried that Zheng Jicheng would live for a few more decades if he had this thing. As a result, Zheng Jicheng's net worth was lost to them. At this moment, the 4 of Song Shishang were also crying. After all, they were also Zheng Jicheng's disciples. "You 5 don't need to cry anymore. My life is near. After I die, ask Su Qin to bring my ashes back to sect for burial. Over the years, I have praised too many net worth, but for you, it is still somewhat useful for you." Speaking of this, Zheng Jicheng difficultly removed the storage bag from his waist. With a flick of his left hand, the green feather fan appeared in his hand, and then threw the storage bag to Song Shishang, saying, "Shishang, master is a bit partial these years. All the things in it, you 7 brothers will be divided. The 5th, 6th, and 7th have not come back, you must not forget them." Song Shishang grabbed the storage bag with a look of excitement, and said, "Master, rest assured, the disciples will handle this matter well, and I will try my best to support the younger brothers and sisters." When Zheng Jicheng heard this, he nodded comfortably, then looked at Lin Xiaowen and said, "Wanner, only you have the same origin with me and inherited my legacy. My Qingyu fan can only be activated by the spiritual roots cultivator, and you can take it. You must not fall from the reputation of my spiritual roots." When Lin Xiaowen heard this, she cried loudly, "I don't want this fan, I want master to live." Zheng Jicheng smiled on his face, touched Lin Xiaowen's head with his dry hands, and then handed Qingyu fan into Lin Haoyang's hands. "Lin fellow Taoist, Thank you for coming here, but I have nothing to give you. Wanner is still young. Please help her take care of this Qingyu fan for the time being, so as not to stay with her and find someone jealous. Zheng Jicheng said. Lin Haoyang nodded, and then put the Qingyu fan into the storage bag. Just as Zheng Jicheng said, Lin Xiaowen is now unable to hold this thing. Even if it was Lin Haoyang, the Qingyu fan and life crystal were exposed on his body now. I am afraid he will be uneasy for some time in the future. Seeing Lin Haoyang took the Qingyu fan away, Zheng Jicheng nodded and said, Get out. Ask Su Qin to come here to collect my bones in 3 days. When Lin Xiaowen heard this, she burst into tears. No matter where she was willing to leave, while Song Shishong and others, although they were so happy to die in their hearts, they never left. Obviously, it was to prevent Zheng Jicheng from giving Lin Xiaowen private goods. Zheng Jicheng glanced at Lin Haoyang with an expression of imploring in his eyes. Lin Haoyang understood clearly. After a light sigh, he slapped Lin Xiaowen with a knife on the back of the neck and fainted immediately. Zheng Jicheng touched Lin Xiaowen's head lastly and said, Get out. Then Lin Haoyang picked up Lin Xiaowen and exited Immortal Cave. Song Shishong and others cried bitterly when they saw this, and then left Immortal Cave. After Song Shishong left Zheng Jicheng's Immortal Cave, he chased Lin Haoyang. Although he was dissatisfied with Zheng Jicheng's eccentricity, he was indeed sad about Zheng Jicheng's departure. After all, he has been with Zheng Jicheng the longest and received the most care from Zheng Jicheng. Lin Haoyang, who was holding his soul to Lin Xiaowen, found a room to lie down, and as soon as he closed the door, Song Shishong and others chased him. Lin, fellow Taoist, although Xiaowen is your Lin family member, I think it is appropriate to leave this Qingyufan to us for safekeeping after all. After all, Master, his elder is our elder in Chongshan Tower, and we will also ensure its safety. Song Shishong said. Lin Haoyang's eyes narrowed. Before Zheng Jicheng was alive or dead, Song Shishong came to force the Qingyu fan to be too much. What if I don't give it? Zheng Senior handed this item to me personally. What qualifications do you have to come and ask? Take good care of what Zheng Senior gave you, lest you die that day, and you don't know how to die. Lin Haoyang was full of expression. Murderous way. The expressions of Song Shishong and the others changed. I didn't expect Lin Haoyang to be so hard-hearted. A subsidiary family of the 5th rank force would have the courage to face them head-on. But Song Shishong didn't push him further. Firstly, Zheng Jicheng had not completely gone west, and secondly he entered the 2 cases of cooperation. If he dared to destroy the 2 cases of cooperation, I am afraid he would also bear the responsibility. Lin, fellow Taoist, I was really reckless just now. I am here to make a payment to you. Qingyu fan is in your hands. Don't worry, our brother. You see, Xiaowen and I have been in the same friendship for many years. I have also reached the 9th level peak of Golden Core in Cultivation Base, which is only 1 step away from Nascent Soul Realm. Why don't you sell me the spiritual object you just took out? I am willing to give out 100,000 spirit stones, no 150,000. Song Shishong said excitedly. Lin Haoyang smiled at the corner of his mouth. Sure enough, Song Shishong didn't come at Qingyu fan. Although Qingyu fan is a magical item of the 5th order middle grade, it is only useful for the cultivator of spiritual roots. Even if Song Shishong and others sell it, the price will be lowered. At the same time, they have to go against the suspicion of violating the teacher's training and oppressing the younger sisters, but the gains outweigh the losses. So at the beginning, his goal was not to snatch the Qingyu fan, their goal was the life crystal in his hand. Lin Haoyang smiled at the corner of his mouth and said, Don't bother with it. The head teacher from Zuo Qianji asked me to bring it to Zheng Senior. I don't need it now. Naturally, I have to take it back and return it to head teacher Zuo. Could it be that you still have to buy and sell the things of the left head teacher? Quote. Song Shishong frowned when he heard it. He had thought that Lin Haoyang couldn't bring out such a treasure before, but now he heard Zuo Qianji asking him to bring it, and he really believed it in his heart. Since Lin Haoyang had said so, it was impossible for him to be forced to buy and sell, and if Zuo Qianji pursued it, they would not be able to afford it. They had also heard about Zuo Qianji's strength, and they didn't dare to let Zuo Qianji go. After Song Shishong gritted his teeth and bid farewell to Lin Haoyang, he left here. As for whether he would play any conspiracy secretly, Lin Haoyang didn't know. But as long as they dare to harm Lin Xiaowen, even if they are Chongshanlu's cultivator, he will not be merciless. In order to prevent Lin Xiaowen from being overly sad, Lin Haoyang started a bit hard, and didn't wake up until 3 days later. At this time, Su Qin just rushed back, got Zheng Jicheng's last wish, entered the immortal cave, and found that Zheng Jicheng had gone west. According to Zheng Jicheng's last wish, Su Qin cremated him, preparing to take him back to the Chongshan Tower and let him be buried in the mountain gate. 52%. Chapter 313. Lin Haoyang wakes Lin Xiaowen and asks him to send Zheng Jicheng for the last time. Zheng Jicheng's fall, the decision was considered a major event, and Su Qin could only stop his work and return Zheng Jicheng's ashes to the Chongshan Lushan Gate. Donglishan was destroyed. Luo Zihong and other 4 nascent souls also fell. 1 was seriously injured and escaped, and most of the Golden Core and Foundation building cultivator were also beheaded. It marked the end of this battle with the great victory of Chongshanlu and Qingyunzong. Today, Chongshan Tower has occupied 3 fifth-order spiritual veins in the wild border. It is definitely not a small influence, but for the ambition of Chongshan Tower, this is just an appetizer. Their goal is the 6th-order spiritual veins in the wild, and only occupying the 6th-order spiritual veins against forces such as Chongshan Tower is a leap-forward development. The Chongshan Tower rose during the 3rd Wasteland Reclamation season and advanced to become the 6th-rank power. However, during the 4th Wasteland Reclamation season, the Chongshan Tower failed to win the 6th-rank spiritual vein, so this long-term layout was established. Their purpose has never been a 5th-order spiritual channel, but a 6th-order spiritual channel is their ultimate goal. However, if you want to occupy the 6th-order spiritual veins, the battle on the side of the Sword Alliance must be completed before you can proceed. Zheng Jicheng is now dead, and the Chongshan Tower will definitely send new people to hand over the famine. Although Su Qin and Xian have already been promoted to nascent soul, their cultivation base is still relatively weak, and there are some things that cannot be the master. Therefore, in the nascent soul cultivator to assist this time, there will be 1 nascent soul late stage and 1 nascent soul middle stage cultivator. The other 2 will be heading to the battlefield of the Sword League. There has been news recently that the battle's over there will be compared. Tight. The cultivator on the 7th floor of nascent soul is named Qian Wuan, and the cultivator on the 5th floor of nascent soul is named Lu Fengming. Although both of them are from the Chongshan Tower, they are not the same as Zheng Jicheng. Therefore, when the 2 came here, they took over Luofengling directly, instead letting Su Qin and Xian come to Lishan. Of course Ziyan refused. After all, Luofengling could have the Tier 5 teleportation array they worked hard to reach directly to the Tier 6 stronghold of the Sword League. If Zheng Jicheng was still there, they would not dare to be so arrogant, and Su Qin had returned to the Chongshan Tower to bury Zheng Jicheng. Ziyan was forced to have no choice but to take their direct line and leave Luofengling to the more desolate Dongli Mountain. After Xian took charge of Donglishan, he immediately gathered the 1.5 million mortals north of Qianyuan Mountain and let them all move to the east. They lost Luofengling. Zhongshan Tower will definitely give them an explanation. Before that, she must take good care of Donglishan. In the future, this will be the nest of her, Su Qin, and Su Ling'er. Even if sect wants to take it back in the future, they will have to agree. Lin Haoyang took Lin Xiaowen back to Qingyan Peak with Hu Weiwei and other Qingyunzong cultivators. As for Qianyuan Mountain, there is Zuo Qianji, so they naturally don't need to worry about it. Back at Qingyan Peak, Lin Haoyang sent Lin Xiaowen to Zufeng Mountain. Although Lin Haoyang and everyone from the Lin family enlightened on the way, Lin Xiaowen still didn't smile. The 4 women Lin Xuanlin, Bai Qingyan, Lin Xuanjing, and Chu Mengyao were responsible for comforting Lin Xiaowen, and he has more important things. First, the spirit mine of Huozhishan needs someone to guard it, and second, the things he obtained from Tianqing Minor World also need to be dealt with urgently. This matter has to be discussed with Hu Weiwei, otherwise a large influx of high-ranked demonic beasts materials will cause suspicion. The materials for this batch of demonic beasts are too peculiar, and there is not a single name. Lin Haoyang can only say that he strayed into the Tianqing Minor World. Not long after Hu Weiwei became the Golden Core, his knowledge of Tianqing Minor World was almost zero. Lin Haoyang explained it again, which made Hu Weiwei hand over this batch of materials. In the end, Hu Weiwei gave Lin Haoyang 100,000 contribution points, because in sect, he couldn't take out spirit stones. Of course, Lin Haoyang also kept a part of it for his own refining. As for the life crystal and life essence, he still had to discuss with Zuo Qianji before he could make a decision. After all, he got it from Zuo Qianji when he released it. Then, it was the mine problem of Huozi Mountain. There was no way. Now the 4 cultivators don't have any redundant golden core, so Shidakong can only keep guarding there temporarily. With restrictions, Shi Dekong didn't dare to mess around. Otherwise, as soon as Lin Haoyang urged restrictions, he would have no way to survive. These trivial matters were handed over to Lin Qianlong and Bai Zonkang, and he exchanged a large amount of refining materials from the Azure Cloud sect, and began closed-door training to refine the Tier 4 magical item. As long as there is enough supply, Sai Heshan can attract enough rogue cultivators, and the 4 cultivators can make money back as soon as possible. When Lin Haoyang left, he gave Bai Qingyan to refine a furnace of foundation building pill, which became 8 pills, and the pill formation rate was as high as 80%. Lin Haoyang didn't have any private possessions either. 4 of them were used as a pension for the death in this battle, and the other 4 were used as rewards for this time. Of course, Lin Haoyang also had selfish intentions and directly gave Lu Jintao one. As for Lin Juwu, he was not in a hurry for the time being. In this battle, Lin Juwu had a chance. Cultivation base broke through the 7 layers of condensed vessels, but his spiritual roots were poor, and it would take some years to break through nascent soul. Lin Haoyang directly handed the other 3 foundation building dans to Lin Qianlong for his decision. Even Qing Yunzong was shocked by Lin Haoyang's ability to take out the foundation building dan. Finally, Hu Weiwei personally came forward and took away the 3 foundation building dans in Lin Qianlong's hand at the price of 12,000 spirit stones. Because many people died in the sect battle this time, Qing Yunzong couldn't use so many foundation building pills for compensation. Lin Haoyang also knew this, so he took out these foundation building pills by himself. Otherwise, the family members of the deceased would have difficulty waiting for Qing Yunzong's care. For a time, the 4 cultivators praised Lin Hao even more. Lin Haoyang did so, and he no longer regarded the 4 as 4, but as 1. Foundation building dan doesn't need Lin Qianlong to worry about, but Lin Qianlong and Bai Zonkang are still busy. There are about 300,000 mortals, and 4 families need to move them to Chenjiangya near Chenjiangya. Such a distance is also a time-consuming thing to break the position. If it is not done well, it will cause a large number of mortals to die on the way, and hurt the sky. 3 months later, Zuo Qianji returned from Qianyuan Mountain. This time he brought back 4 million spirit stones, 3 purple cloud crystals and 15 foundation building dans. These 15 foundation building dans were used by the East River sect with a purple cloud crystal top. The East River sect was also short of resources, and there was no purple cloud crystal in the clan to reserve. I had to exchange 15 foundation building dans for a purple cloud crystal at a loss. 4 million spirit stones poured into Qin Yunzong's warehouse, and Qing Yunzong suddenly came back to life, and various pensions and rewards were also issued one after another. As for the review of the foundation building dan, it may be a while. Qing Yunzong killed 37 foundation building cultivators this time. Except for those who had no relatives or descendants, 32 foundation building dans were needed. And now, plus the 3 of Lin Haoyang here and the 15 in Zuo Qianji's hands, there are only 18, and there is a gap of 15 foundation building dans. In order to increase the speed of development in these years, Qing Yunzong did not leave the foundation building dan, and had to owe it first, and then give priority to the materials when the materials were available. After the pensions and rewards were distributed, the 4 coalition forces also withdrew to Chenjiangya. Lin Xiaowen did not follow it back, but stayed in Zufeng Mountain. Staying here makes her feel at home. 53%. Chapter 314 Lin Xuanlin closed door training. Lin Haoyang only left the gate after closed door training for half a year. This time the refining equipment was refined into 4 lower tier magical items and 3 middle tier magical items. Just these 7 magical items can be worth 100,000 spirit stones, which also makes Lin Haoyang rich. Lin Haoyang replaced all the remaining 70,000 contribution points with spirit stones before returning to Zufeng Mountain. But Lin Xuanlin and Bai Qingyan were not there. Lin Xuanlin was busy taking care of the Lingzi transplanted from Qianyuan Mountain. Especially that piece of Jinji and purple marrow, we need to take special care. Now Qing Yunzong still owes more than 10 foundation building powers and has not given it out. As for Bai Qingyan, she was busy refining medicine pill. This time she came back and harvested some tier 4 mature elixir. At the same time, she also harvested a large number of pill recipes, which made Bai Qingyan obsessed. Compared with digesting this pill recipe good fortune, Bai Qingyan's pill refining level should also be able to make a breakthrough and become a 4th tier mid-level pill refining teacher. When Lin Haoyang arrived at Zufeng Mountain, there was only Lin Xiaowen alone, and there was no cultivation. He just stared at the Zhuhai in Bianshan, stunned. Looking at Lin Xiaowen's appearance, Lin Haoyang felt sad, but birth, old age, sickness and death are destined by nature, and people cannot stay in sorrow forever. Lin Haoyang came to the bamboo building where Lin Xiaowen was, and felt the visitor. Lin Xiaowen turned her head and glanced. It was Lin Haoyang, and almost couldn't hold back her tears again. Lin Xiaowen body, said. Godfather, you are here. Lin Haoyang nodded, found a place to sit down, and looked at the bamboo sea in front of him. The bamboo leaves were like waves, rolling in uncertainty. Life and death, no one can avoid it. We only have heaven-defying monasticism and striving for longevity with the heavens, so that we can live the shoes. When Zheng Sr. was desperate, he also met you, a disciple, and inheriting the legacy was considered his wish. Lin Haoyang. Even so, Lin Xiaowen still looks colorless. She always blames herself. If he finds something wrong with the master earlier and brings him to Lin Haoyang, will Zheng Jicheng not die? Seeing that there was still no expression in Lin Xiaowen's eyes, she continued. Actually, Zheng Sr. still has a wish. If you can help him achieve it, if he learns about it under Yellow Springs, it is considered to have understood a wish. Listening to this, Lin Xiaowen trembled all over. As Zheng Jicheng's most beloved disciple, she certainly knew what Zheng Jicheng's wish was. It was Zheng Xiaoxi's death over there. Although it was not a matter of life or death to participate in the Shuyang Mountain trial, Zheng Xiaoxi's death was really miserable in class when Zheng Jicheng saw Zheng Xiaoxi's body. It was furious, but due to the rules, she could not take action, otherwise it was likely to cause two big battles, so he had a spare heart and lacked strength, and his heart strength would be exhausted. Although Lin Xiaowen had heard of this time, she never dared to mention this time in front of Zheng Jicheng. Once mentioned, Zheng Jicheng would be exposed. Thinking of this, Lin Xiaowen's eyes gathered together and said, Godfather, tell me, who is that person? Lin Haoyang smiled when he saw this, but then he became serious and said, that person is terrible, and the wine is me, and now I am not completely sure that I can pay her more. Therefore, I will not tell you her name before you can't take my 3 tricks, lest you go to die. Quote. Lin Xiaowen narrowed her eyes and said, don't worry, I can't die before I have fulfilled Master's last wish. Now, I want to know how strong a godfather is. Quote. A smile appeared at the corner of Lin Haoyang's mouth. Since Lin Xiaowen left the Lin family, this is the first time Lin Xiaowen has asked him how strong he is. Without much words, Lin Haoyang took out Junyu with one tap of the storage bag, and after throwing it away, he threw Junyu to Lin Xiaowen. Seeing Junyu smashing at herself, Lin Xiaowen didn't dare to care, hand seals with both hands, and a white silk flew out on both arms. The white silk spins, turning into a whirlpool and flying up and down. There is a violent wind in the bamboo building, and the sharp wind blade cuts the bamboo building out of cracks. Afterwards, the 2 Bai Ling rushed to Zhen Yu, trying to take advantage of the power of the wind to hold it up, but Zhen Yu was too heavy for Bai Ling to bear such a weight. Suddenly, Zhen Yu pushed all the wind blades horizontally, and then hit the 2 white tornadoes. Bai Ling's hair strength only lasted for a while, and then she wilted. After that, Zhen Yu continued to smash at Lin Xiaowen, but Lin Xiaowen refused to accept, and a 2-meter-long wind blade split behind him, preparing to slam Zhen Yu hard. But at this moment, an angry curse came from outside the sky. You 2 bastards, dare to tear down my bamboo building. Hearing this voice, Lin Haoyang trembled all over, then opened her hand to suck, and took Zhen Yu back from her hand. Lin Xiaowen's expression also changed, and the cracks behind her immediately disappeared. The 2 looked at each other, glanced at the shattered bamboo building, with a wry smile on their faces. It seemed that they were going to be scolded. At this moment, Lin Xuanlin's figure appeared in the bamboo building, her face full of anger. She glanced at the tattered bamboo building. Lin Xuanlin came to Lin Haoyang in a flash, stretched out her hand to grab Lin Haoyang's ear, and said, You 2 didn't look at the place with your hands. The bamboo building I worked so hard to build was destroyed by you like this. Seeing Lin Haoyang being trained, Lin Xiaowen tiptoed, and just about to escape, Lin Xuanlin turned her head and a cold light flashed in her eyes. And you 2, give you 1 day, give me a new one, otherwise. After speaking, Lin Xuanlin grabbed Lin Haoyang's ear and rotated her hand 90 degrees, and then a weird smile appeared on her face, which made Lin Haoyang and Lin Xiaowen see goosebumps. Lin Haoyang immediately looked down and said, Within 1 day, I promise to return you a bigger and more beautiful bamboo building. Seeing this, Lin Xiaowen hurriedly said, Yes, bigger, more beautiful. When Lin Xuanlin heard this, she let go of her grasping Lin Haoyang, and then said, Haoyang, I think it's time for my breakthrough. After 3 days, I will close door training, and you will protect me. When Lin Haoyang and Lin Xiaowen heard this, they immediately smiled. If Lin Xuanlin is golden core, the strength of the 4 families will be even higher. However, Lin Xuanlin did not chat with them much, but asked them to quickly repair the bamboo building. Lin Haoyang and Lin Xiaowen looked at each other, their eyes full of helplessness. No way, a golden core, a foundation building, and I personally cut down the pillars in the bamboo sea to build bamboo buildings. However, the cultivation base of the 2 is good, and Lin Haoyang is even a tier 4 middle grade crafter. It is very simple to build a bamboo building. In 1 day, he built a larger and more beautiful bamboo building. Later, the 2 found Lin Xuanlin and explained to her what golden core should pay attention to. At the same time, Lin Haoyang also took out a quarter of the life crystal. Let Lin Xuanlin accept when breakthrough encounters difficulties, and she will definitely help her breakthrough. 2 days later, Lin Xuanlin closed door training breakthrough golden core, and Lin Xiaowen, because of Lin Haoyang's encouragement, began to practice hard. Fulfilling Zheng Jicheng's last wish and avenging Zheng Xiaoxi has become the greatest motivation for her cultivation. After seeing Lin Haoyang's strength, Lin Xiaowen knew how bad she was. She looks like this, let alone revenge. She can't do a single blow to kill Zheng Xiaoxi's enemy, so what she has to do now is to take Lin Haoyang's 3 moves. 53%. Chapter 315 Lin Xuanjing was murdered. When Lin Xuanlin made her breakthrough in closed-door training, 2 of the Azure Cloud sect also prepared for closed-door training. This time Zuo Qianji brought back 3 purple cloud crystals. Immediately 2 people came to ask for the purple cloud crystal. Zuo Qianji did not hide and choked, and immediately handed the 2 purple cloud crystals into the hands of these 2 people. Lin Xuanlin's closed-door training immediately attracted everyone's attention, because Lin Xuanlin didn't exchange the purple cloud crystal with Thousand Chance Zuo at all. Later, it was spread that Lin Xuanlin's purple cloud crystal was originally owned by Bai Qingyan, but Bai Qingyan had another chance and didn't use it at the time of breakthrough, so it happened to be given to Lin Xuanlin. The relationship between Lin Xuanlin and Bai Qingyan is also known to everyone in Qingyan sect. There is nothing to say to them, but they also speculate about Lin Haoyang and Lin Xuanlin. It is very possible that these 2 people also have the Dao companion, but due to Bai Qingyan, there has not been much progress. Regarding these rumors, Lin Haoyang was protecting Lin Xuanlin and never heard the slightest, and Bai Qingyan was closing door training pill refining and never heard. As for Lin Xuanlin, it was even more impossible to hear it. None of the 3 of the protagonists spoke out, and this rumor was self-defeating. Soon, in the 3rd month of Lin Xuanlin's closed-door training, Bai Qingyan finished pill refining. As soon as Lin Xuanlin's closed-door training was ready to break through the golden core, she rushed over. When she arrived, Lin Haoyang was guarding her, and she hadn't seen each other for many days. The 2 missed it again. At this moment, Lin Haoyang left and let Bai Qingyan protect the law for him. For the past 3 months, Lin Haoyang has always helped Lin Xuanlin protect the law, half a step, because he is afraid of Lin Xuanlin's accident. Even so, he can help solve it by staying aside. Now that Bai Qingyan is here, Lin Haoyang doesn't have to stay here every day. He still has an extremely important thing to solve, and that is the matter of his life crystal. The life crystal in his hand is a 5th-order high-grade spiritual thing. Even if it supplements the source to increase lifespan, it is not impossible. But if a golden core carries such a treasure, I am afraid it will be under scrutiny. Especially before, he had already taken out the life crystal, and at the same time said that this thing is from Zuo Qianji. If he did something like that, I'm afraid the people at Chongshan Tower would be unbelievable. With such a spiritual thing, Lin Haoyang couldn't guarantee that nascent soul cultivator would not be tempted. Neither is a good thing. At the same time, there was a Taoist shadow in Chenjiangya quietly sneaking in. This person walked through Chenjiangya like flat ground. The restrictions and traps on Chenjiangya didn't seem to have any effect on him. Soon, this person came near Lin Xuanjing's immortal cave. Lin Xuanjing is good at merchants. Originally, Saihei Mountain was occupied by her and Chu Mengyao. But this time, she happened to return to Chenjiangya to bring some goods, and stayed at Chenjiangya for a while, but she was watched for this. The incoming cultivation base was extremely high, and almost did not disturb anyone in Chenjiangya, so he came outside the immortal cave. Afterwards, a rune lit up in the hands of the incoming person, and immediately, Lin Xuanjing's restrictions outside immortal cave were all destroyed. The immortal cave restrictions were broken, and Lin Xuanjing's expression immediately changed. She arranged the restrictions of Immortal Cave by herself, and he couldn't escape his eyes with any disturbance. Now that the restrictions she arranged instantly lost all perception, there was only one possibility. The strength of the incoming person far exceeded her, and the restrictions she arranged did not have any effect in the eyes of the other party. Even if the opponent's strength far surpassed her, Lin Xuanjing wouldn't be able to catch it. Running a family merchant over the years has also allowed her to accumulate a lot of wealth and exercise her strong heart. At the moment when Lin Xuanjing felt that the restrictions she had deployed were forced to do so, Lin Xuanjing spurred a Tier 3 high-grade defensive charm and a Tier 3 top-grade stealth charm. At the same time, a third-tier flying sword also flew out of the storage bag, and Lin Xuanjing held it in one hand, ready to fight the incoming people desperately at any time. It was only an instant that the invisibility talisman worked, and Lin Xuanjing disappeared into Immortal Cave. As soon as the invisibility talisman worked, the person who broke Lin Xuanjing's restrictions appeared in the Immortal Cave. The visitor was dressed in a black robe and had a mask on his face. He couldn't tell who it was. Lin Xuanjing, who was hiding in the dark, saw this scene. Her expression changed. The other party dressed up like this, still afraid of being exposed, which shows that the other party is not her enemy. If it is her enemy, there is no need to be like this. The face under the mask saw that there was no one in the Immortal Cave, but a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He looked down upon Lin Xuanjing. Come out. With just a light rebuke, Lin Xuanjing felt like a mighty thunderbolt blasting in her ears, and even the invisibility charms that kept her invisible were of no use at this moment. The magic talisman failed, and Lin Xuanjing's figure also appeared in front of the visitor. When that light scolded, Lin Xuanjing was desperate in her heart. She could feel that the power of that light rebuke had surpassed the foundation building and even surpassed the golden core. Even if the opponent is a golden core cultivator, Lin Xuanjing is sure to deal with the opponent 1 or 2 times, and then make a big enough movement to let others on the front line know her condition. But if the opponent is a nascent soul, she won't have a chance. Lin Xuanjing feels good. Even if the opponent is a nascent soul cultivator, he will not easily admit his fate. Immediately, Lin Xuanjing turned the flying sword in her hand, and went straight to the person's chest to stab her. But the gap between the 2 cultivation bases was too big. Seeing the black man with 2 fingers and 1 clip, Lin Xuanjing's flying sword couldn't make any further progress. At this moment, when the black-clothed 2 fingers turned, the long sword was broken into 2 knots, and Lin Xuanjing's soul went wild, knowing that she was not the opponent's opponent at all. Lin Xuanjing still had to withdraw back, but the other party would give him this chance. Seeing him stretch out his hand, he broke the defensive shield around Lin Xuanjing's body. At the same time, the man in black stretched out his hand again and directly grabbed Lin Xuanjing's head. Lin Xuanjing wanted to resist, but the other party didn't give him this opportunity at all. The man in black divine sense surged and rushed directly into Lin Xuanjing's sea of knowledge. What? Being forcibly invaded by divine sense, Lin Xuanjing's soul suddenly felt a sharp pain, but the man in black didn't care about it. Before he came, he had rearranged the restrictions outside Lin Xuanjing's Immortal Cave. After a stick of incense, the man in black frowned under the mask. He could not find the slightest news about life crystals in Lin Xuanjing's sea of knowledge. All I know is that before Lin Haoyang rushed to the battlefield, he disappeared for a while. If this matter was normal, he would not be suspicious, but now he can't help but wonder what Lin Haoyang did during this period of time. Not finding the information she wanted, the man in black was very angry, and casually threw Lin Xuanjing aside. Lin Xuanjing was forced to search for her soul by him. Even if she could wake up, she would have become a fool, without the slightest threat to him. Even the high-ranking Lin family like Lin Xuanjing didn't know any news about Life Crystal, and the Black Clothes didn't plan to waste any more time. Immediately after leaving Lin Xuanjing's Immortal Cave, she left Shenzhongya. 53%. Chapter 316. On the second day, the Lin family disciples came to Lin Xuanjing to discuss supplies, but found that Lin Xuanjing's Immortal Cave restrictions had been destroyed. Even though he knew that something was wrong, he immediately contacted Lin Qianlong, and he entered Lin Xuanjing's Immortal Cave. There were signs of fighting in Immortal Cave, but it was not fierce. Obviously, the battle ended soon. Afterwards, this person found Lin Xuanjing's body in Lin Xuanjing's bedroom. Lin Xuanjing's body is intact and there are no wounds, but her 7 orifices have black blood flowing out, and her death is extremely tragic. The Lin family disciple was immediately frightened and didn't dare to touch Lin Xuanjing's body, so he hurriedly backed out. Until Lin Qianlong came here, his expression was not so good. Seeing his appearance, Lin Qianlong asked, "What happened?" "The Wei Patriarch, Zan Jing Elder, she is dead." The person trembled. Hearing this, Lin Qianlong's expression changed frantically, and he walked straight to Lin Xuanjing's immortal cave. Even after seeing the fighting traces and Lin Xuanjing's corpse, Lin Qianlong felt sad when he saw this. Although many old people from the Lin family have passed away in the past few years, Lin Xuanjing is still the #1 important figure in the Xuanzi generation. Moreover, the relationship between Lin Qianlong and Lin Xuanjing is very good on weekdays, and Lin Xuanjing also contributed a lot to the Lin family. Now that Lin Xuanjing has passed away, his sadness is beyond words. After some inspection, he found that Lin Xuanjing had died in a soul search, and this was the appearance of bleeding from the 7 orifices. Although soul search is not a taboo method, it can only be used by the most sinister people. Who on earth wants to use such a method against Lin Xuanjing? Moreover, based on Lin Xuanjing's strength, coupled with the traces of resistance in Immortal Cave, the person here is likely to be the Golden Core late-stage cultivator, or even, it may be the nascent soul cultivator. The tragic death of Lin Xuanjing's soul search suddenly spread across Chenjiangya, and the 4 coalition forces were panicked. The murderer can kill Lin Xuanjing silently, so the vast majority of people here can't escape the murderer's clutches. Lin Qianlong was so sad that he could only let the Lin family woman help to clean up, while he himself went to Qingyunzong to seek justice. Chu Mengyao, who was in Saihei Mountain, heard the news and hurried back to Chenjiangya immediately. To say that the 4 coalition forces had the best relationship with Lin Xuanjing, none belonged to Chu Mengyao. Hearing that Lin Xuanjing had passed away, she couldn't believe it in her heart, and rushed back to Chenjiangya as quickly as possible. Before Lin Qianlong left, let everyone save Lin Xuanjing's body, and must seek justice for him and find the murderer. There is only Zuo Qianji with this ability in the world, and Zuo Qianji's 8 trigrams is definitely able to deduce some news. Lin Qianlong had decided in his heart that no matter who the other party was, he must pay the price. In fact, he already had some guesses in his heart. After the war, Lin Haoyang found him and told him something about life crystals and life essence. For the sake of safety, Lin Haoyang only told him that the murderer's attack was aimed at the Lin family's senior management. Lin Qianlong was already 80% sure of it, and more release was for his life. Lin Haoyang, who was in the Azure Cloud sect, had already talked to Zuo Qianji about the life crystal. Zuo Qianji agreed and announced that the mysterious crystal belonged to him. In return, Lin Haoyang gave a full 5 caddies of life essence. However, Zuo Qianji had just announced that the life crystal was indeed given to Zheng Jicheng by Lin Haoyang, and Lin Qianlong had already rushed to Qingyunzong and told Lin Haoyang the sad news. Lin Haoyang and Lin Xuanjing have a very good relationship. He brought back the foundation building Dan back then, allowing Lin Xuanjing to break through the foundation building realm. However, it was Lin Xuanjing who helped him experience the Pingyang City merchandise. Later, Lin Xuanjing was also taking care of Dongafang City. Later, Saihashanfang City was gradually handed over to Lin Xuanjing. It can be said that Lin Haoyang hits the world, and Lin Xuanjing has helped him know the world, which has contributed a lot. Moreover, Lin Xuanjing was very likely to die because of his life crystal, which made him blame himself even more. So, in any case, no matter what the price is, he will have the murderer pay for his life. Because Lin Xuanlin was breaking through the closed-door training, Lin Qianlong did not tell the two, but together with Lin Haoyang, he found Zuo Qianji. Zuo Qianji was shocked when he heard that Lin Xuanjing was killed by a soul search, and soon understood that the person should have come for the life crystal in Lin Haoyang's hands. As an affiliated family of Qingyunzong, the Lin family has done a lot for Qingyunzong over the years. If Zuo Qianji is unwilling to help this, I'm afraid the Lin family will be unhappy. Therefore, Zuo Qianji did not decline, and immediately deduced it. But after a stick of incense, Zuo Qianji opened his eyes and said, "It was a nascent soul cultivator who killed Lin Xuanjing. It was too expensive to find out her identity." Before Zuo Qianji had finished speaking, Lin Haoyang took out a life crystal from the storage bag, and said with excitement, "Please, head teacher must help me find the murderer." As soon as the life crystal came out, a strong breath of life immediately rushed toward his face. Zuo Qianji looked at the life crystal, and there was a strong desire in his body. With such a treasure, Zuo Qianji couldn't help but Dongshin. No wonder someone would pay attention to the Lin family. Zuo Qianji did not hesitate, and accepted the life crystal. Just as he himself said, deducing information about nascent soul cultivator was very costly. However, since he received Lin Haoyang's life crystal, he would naturally help him get things done. After that, the 8 trigrams plate appeared behind Zhuo Qian's fuselage and began to play wholeheartedly. At this moment, Lu Fengming's expression in Luofengling changed. Just now, he felt that someone was spying on him. His expression changed. It seems that his soul search for Lin Xuanjing has been exposed. It is very likely that the Lin family will ask Zhuo Qianji to play the murderer. Lu Fengming looked ugly, and he really couldn't think of why Zhuo Qianji was willing to pay such a price to help the Lin family deduction. As a nascent soul cultivator, he knew that even with Zhuo Qianji's strength, he would have to pay a high price if he wanted to spy on this matter. However, even if the Lin family asks Zhuo Qianji and it is deduced that he killed Lin Xuanjing, what can the Lin family do? Could it be that Zhuo Qianji could kill him for this matter? Even if the Lin family asks Zhuo Qianji to kill him, there is already a Tier 5 teleportation formation on Luofengling. Even if Zhuo Qianji is killed, he can escape back to the Chongshan building headquarters. He still doesn't believe it, for a small foundation building. As a cultivator, Zhuo Qianji can still kill the headquarters of Chongshan Tower. Zhuo Qianji Immortal Cave. About half an hour passed. Zhuo Qianji suddenly sprayed out a mouthful of blood. His face suddenly turned white. It was obviously the backlash of the deduction method. Xin does not humiliate my life. I have a glimpse of the secret. The murderer is from the Chongshan Tower, whose surname is Lu. Zhuo Qianji said weakly. Hearing this name, Lin Haoyang's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Even if the opponent is a nascent soul cultivator, people who dare to move the Lin family must pay a price. Zhuo Qianji said dumbly. You don't have to worry about this matter, head teacher. My family affairs are naturally handled by ourselves. Lin Haoyang said with a gloomy expression. 53%. Chapter 317. Zhuo Qianji's expression is indifferent. It's not that he doesn't want to help. It's really too much involved. As a sect master, it is impossible for him to fight with nascent soul and the 6th rank force for a foundation building cultivator. However, as the sect leader of the Azure Cloud sect, Lin Xuanjing, as a child of an affiliated family of the Azure Cloud sect, is now murdered, and he has to ask the Chongshan Tower for an explanation. When Lin Haoyang and others left, Zhuo Qianji also sent a letter to Su Qin and Ziyan, asking them to poke the matter out at the headquarters of Chongshan Building, and the other party was bound to be severely punished. At the same time, Zhuo Qianji rushed to Luofengling to question Lu Fengming, asking him if the 2 cases of cooperation ended. After Lin Haoyang and the 2 came out of Zhuo Qianji's immortal cave, their expressions were grim and said, Patriarch, Lu Fengming, nascent soul cultivation base, we are not opponents, but money can make ghosts grind. I have a total of 150,000 spirit stones in my hand, as well as several tier 4 magical items that have just been refined. I sold them together. I can also make up 250,000 spirit stones. Please lend me 150,000 spirit stones from the clan. Stones. Find 3 more to borrow some, and make up to 500,000 spirit stones. I want to go to the Sword League to offer a reward. Lu Fengming. Quote. Lin Qianlong was silent for a while, took a storage bag from his waist, and said, There are 300,000 spirit stones in it, and 150,000 from the clan, 50,000 for each of the 3 by Liuma. I originally wanted to ask the left head teacher to do it, but it seems that I can only do it according to what you said. Lin Haoyang took the storage bag in Lin Qianlong's hand, nodded, and said, Don't say a lot. I will first go to Zhou fellow Taoist to exchange for spirit stones, and then rush to Zhanmeng. Before I go back, please leave the head teacher to Qian Zongya and sit down. I am worried that Lu Fengming will jump the wall in a hurry. After Lin Qianlong agreed, Lin Haoyang found Zhou Zunyuan and exchanged everything he was superfluous into spirit stones. A total of 150,000 spirit stones were exchanged, which exceeded Lin Haoyang's expectations. Zhou Zunyuan originally wanted to lend him some spirit stones, but Lin Haoyang refused. This matter cannot involve the Qingyan sect, otherwise the cooperation between the 2 may really be ruined. Lin Haoyang carried 600,000 spirit stones on him, and he did not dare to be careless. He can only take a detour, enter Wangjizong, and rush to the Sword League with the help of Wangjizong's teleportation array. However, it took a lot of time to go. 1 month later, Lin Haoyang came to Wangjizong's teleportation formation, handed 10 middle-grade spirit stones to the golden core cultivator guarding the formation, and then disappeared in the teleportation formation. Shortly after Lin Haoyang disappeared, Huang Tongshuan, the nascent soul cultivator of Emperor Jizong, came to the teleportation formation and asked the golden core cultivator guarding the teleportation formation. Lin Haoyang. The golden core cultivator didn't know what Huang Tongshuan was looking for Lin Haoyang, but it wasn't a good thing to look at it, so he said. Just borrowed the teleportation array and went to the 6th tier stronghold of the Sword League. Upon hearing this, Huang Tongshuan's face turned black. Just now, Lu Fengming came from the Chongshan Tower, asking him to help stop Lin Haoyang. Lu Fengming was the nascent soul cultivator of the 6th rank force. He also wanted to please, so he hurried to the teleportation formation, but unexpectedly, he was a step late. Huang Tongshuan sighed slightly. He still didn't care about it. He was the same as nascent soul. Even if he belonged to the Chongshan Tower, he was not afraid of him. Because, after Lin Haoyang left Qingyunzong, Zhuo Qianji announced his career. Now, for the treasure, Lu Fengming is searching for the soul of the foundation building cultivator, causing his soul to tear and die. As soon as this matter spread, it immediately evoked a fierce response, and the scolding of Lu Fengming never stopped. Although Lu Fengming had come out to defend this matter, the effect was not great. After all, Zhuo Qianji was good at deduction, which was already well known in the country of Wu. As things got older and bigger, Ziyan and Su Qin actually participated in Lu Fengming's book directly at the Chongshan Tower headquarters, yelling that the Chongshan Tower headquarters knew about this. Soon afterwards, what made Lu Fengming's atmosphere even more exciting was that Zhuo Qianji committed suicide in Luo Fengling and forced him to question Lu Fengming. After all, Luo Fengling's first commander was Qian Wuan. He could only avoid seeing him, but who knew that Zhuo Qianji had extracted a trace of his spirit aura from Lin Xuanjing's spirit. In this way, Lu Fengming is useless even if he is sophistry, he can only respond. In desperation, Lu Fengming was willing to compensate 30,000 spirit stones for understanding this, but he did not expect to be rejected by Zhuo Qianji Duan Ran. Just let Qian Wuan preside over justice, otherwise the cooperation relationship between the two cases may not go far. Then he left and personally guarded Chen Zhongya. Seeing this, Qian Wuan had no choice but to report the matter to the Qingyunzong headquarters, and let the cultivator make a decision. Lu Fengming was extremely angry. He did not expect that for a foundation-building cultivator, he would cause such a big trouble, and he had not received any useful news. Knowing this a long time ago, why should he bother so much, and suddenly be so cruel to Song Shishong and others? If it weren't for them, how could he have been involved in this matter? Although Qian Wuan also reported the matter to the Chongshan Tower headquarters, Lu Fengming had some influence in the Chongshan Tower, and his punishment was delayed. Here, Lin Haoyang had already taken the teleportation formation and reached the most advanced Tier 6 stronghold in the edge of the Jian League. Although it was not the first time to come, Lin Haoyang was still shocked by this spectacular scene, and this time, Lin Haoyang could feel the smell of blood in the air while in the city. After leaving the teleportation formation, Lin Haoyang came to the nascent soul cultivator responsible for guarding the teleportation formation, and asked, "Excuse me, senior, in which direction should the Tianju list go?" Sitting here are 3 nascent soul late-stage cultivators, because the teleportation array here is a mother array, and the 4th and 5th steps of the wild border are basically linked here. That's why 3 nascent soul late-stage guards were dispatched, and all 3 of them reached the 9th floor of nascent soul. With the big formation here, even if there is an incarnation cultivator to make trouble, they can also control it, and then wait until the transformation in the Iron City. God Cultivator came to support. The place where Lin Haoyang is now is the Jagged City. Speaking of the Tianju list, the 3 nascent souls opened their eyes at the same time. Lin Haoyang suddenly felt the prying eyes of the 3 nascent souls, but Yuke trembled. When the 3 looked at Lin Haoyang, there was a cloud of chaos. Although I haven't seen Lin Haoyang's origins, Lin Haoyang's cultivation base strength still has the eyes of all 3 of them. An old man covered with scars said, "At such an age, he has condensed such a strong killing intent, even surpassing me in the past. Your physical cultivation is also very good, and it is not bad. If human race can have a younger generation like you, I can count on rest assured. Tianjubin, 20 miles east here, see a red stone, no matter where you receive the release task." Quote. Lin Haoyang was shocked when he heard the old man's words. The other party could actually see his hidden killing intent. But Lin Haoyang didn't have time to care about these. When he bowed to the old man, Lin Haoyang rushed straight to the red steel in Jagged City. When I rushed to Shuyang Mountain last time, although I passed the Iron and Blood City, I didn't have time to take a closer look. Now walking in the city, Lin Haoyang felt that he was so small. Because here, Golden Core Cultivator can be seen everywhere, even nascent soul is not scarce. The dazzling array of merchandise shops around made Lin Haoyang dumbfounded, but Lin Haoyang was not in the mood to appreciate it, so he rushed to the place where the Tianju list was. After a stick of incense, Lin Haoyang saw a huge red stone monument 100 meters high and 10 meters wide. This stone stele is offering a reward to the world's heroes Tianju Bang. 53%. Chapter 318 Vibration. The Tianju list is published by the Sword League. Every year, the Sword League will offer rewards to some heinous people, as long as someone kills them. All of them can go to the Sword League realm where there is a Tianju list to receive a reward. In addition to offering a reward for the sinners, the Tianju list also offers a reward for the wild demonic beasts. Some powerful demonic beasts will be on the Tianju list. As long as the head is captured, you can also go to the Tianju list to receive a reward. At the same time, in addition to the Sword League can post a reward on the cultivator, ordinary cultivator can also be used, but you must put a proper reason, otherwise the entire cultivating world will cause chaos. Lin Haoyang couldn't help frowning when he came to the Tianju list, because the top 30 in the Tianju list were all demonic beasts or tier 6 demonic beasts or above. The first 3 are the Hidao cultivator and the 7th order demonic beasts, the first in the Tianju list, the ancestor of Heart's demon, with a reward of 150 million spirit stones, the second in the Tianju list, Nanbai, with a reward of 140 million spirit stones, third on the Tianju list, 7 demonic beasts, 120 million spirit stones. Looking at the rewards offered by the 3 Hidao realm, Lin Haoyang was dumbfounded, with more than 100 million spirit stones, his net worth, not even a fraction of others. Just as Lin Haoyang was stunned, a voice came from Lin Haoyang's ear. Fellow Taoist, want to take a task and try your luck? Lin Haoyang turned around and saw that it was a middle-aged man, Golden Core Middle Stage Cultivation Base, Qiu Bufan, and he saw that he came out of Big Sect. I wonder how fellow Taoist knows how to post tasks on the Tianju list. Lin Haoyang asked, taking out a medium-grade spirit stones from his storage bag. A medium-grade spirit stones is worth 100 spirit stones. Even this person was shocked by Lin Haoyang's pride, but this person did not collect Lin Haoyang's spirit stones, and said, with a little effort, fellow Taoist don't have to be polite. If you want to issue a reward order, you just need to put your hand on the stone tablet, and then use the spirit to engrave the information you want to publish on the stone tablet. Then there will be a hole in the stone tablet, and you put the bounty money in, and others will be able to see your reward order on the Tianju list. Quote. Lin Haoyang nodded, thinking that the heavenly judgment list is indeed magical, and this way, he saved the trouble of keeping the spirit stones. Presumably, this heavenly judgment list must be a great treasure. Thank you fellow Taoist for telling me. After saying that, Lin Haoyang walked to the red stele. The middle-aged man looked at Lin Haoyang with interest. He wanted to see how far Lin Haoyang, a golden core early-stage cultivator, could offer a reward. If the offer was acceptable, he wouldn't mind accepting this task. There are many low-level cultivators near the Tianju list. They are waiting for some simple tasks to be released. If they are fast, they can still take advantage of some opportunities. Lin Haoyang also guessed 1 or 2 about the middle-aged man's thoughts, but the other party was not malicious, and he was more difficult to manage. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang came to the front of the Tianju list, without any hesitation, and placed a palm on the red stone stele. Immediately, Lin Haoyang felt the power of the soul pour into the sea of own consciousness. This power of the soul was not too strong. After that, Lin Haoyang knew the method of publishing and accepting the rewards of the Tianju list. Lin Haoyang did not rush to release the missions, but looked through some nascent soul cultivator bounty missions, and saw that these nascent soul cultivator bounty missions were about 50 to 1 million spirit stones. Suddenly, Lin Haoyang was a little worried. Could he invite someone to kill Lu Fengming with his 600,000 spirit stones? Lin Haoyang thought about it for a while, but still felt that 600,000 spirit stones were not insured, and he had to add another bargaining chip. Since everything started because of the life crystal, he took out the life crystal, and he wanted to let Lu Fengming know that what he wanted most was now his life-dealing thing. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang used divine sense to engrave the own reward mission on the red stone tablet. At the same time, he also engraved Lu Fengming's desire to kill and win the treasure, and he would search for the soul of innocent people, all on it. After Lin Haoyang stopped, the Tianju list shined for a while, and then he accepted Lin Haoyang's reward task. At the same time, the red steel in front of Lin Haoyang cracked a hole, indicating that Lin Haoyang would put in a reward. Without hesitation, Lin Haoyang took out 2 storage bags from his arms and put them into them. At the same time, Lin Haoyang patted the storage bag around his waist and took out a life crystal. The breath of life crystal only appeared for a moment, and was cut off by Tianju Bang. However, the life crystal is so special that many people around have noticed it, especially the middle-aged golden core cultivator who talked with Lin Haoyang before, and his complexion changed drastically at this moment. He didn't know how many spirit stones were in the 2 storage bags that Lin Haoyang took out, but the last thing Lin Haoyang took out was really shocking to him. Based on his years of experience in the Iron Blood City, the thing Lin Haoyang took out just now must be a 5th-order spiritual thing, and this thing has extremely strong vitality. Such a treasure, I am sure there will be many old monsters with dry life. I am afraid that when the news comes out, it will definitely cause an uproar. After the middle-aged cultivator was taken aback, he immediately took out a few Transion jade slips, apparently in the contact person. Not only the middle-aged cultivator, but several cultivators near Lin Haoyang also took out Transion jade slip and started to contact each other. When Lin Haoyang saw this scene, the corners of his mouth rose slightly. The breath of life crystal he had just revealed was intentional, and he wanted to attract the attention of the people in Jagged City. The rift on the Tianju list disappeared, and Lin Haoyang's mission was over. After the mission was released, Lin Haoyang secretly left. His goal has been achieved, just wait for the matter to ferment. Seeing Lin Haoyang's departure, the middle-aged cultivator and other people who felt the breath of life crystal immediately rushed to the Tianju list to check the task that Lin Haoyang had just released. But when they saw the content, the expressions of several people changed in unison, because the content of this rewarding task was too amazing. Lin Haoyang didn't hide it. He wrote clearly on the task. The person he wanted to kill was Lu Fengming, the nascent soul cultivator of Chongshan Tower. As for the reason, he searched for the soul and killed people for the treasure. Although Lu Fengming is the nascent soul cultivator of the 6th rank force, and there is a cultivator behind him, not everyone is afraid of him. Mainly, a golden core cultivator, for the life of a foundation-building cultivator, took 600,000 spirit stones and life crystals to offer a reward to Lu Fengming. After Lin Haoyang left Tianju Bang, he found an inn to live in. This time, he would not leave this place without seeing Lu Fengming's head. Moreover, if no one dares to accept this reward, he still has a lore. He still doesn't believe the news about the Tianqing Minor World Fairy Tomb, and he still can't touch the hearts of those high-ranked cultivators. He guessed that when the news of the fairy tomb comes out, I am afraid that the power of realm will not help but make a move. But as a last resort, he didn't want to know about this matter. He had to rely on this news to change to a cheap master. However, what Lin Haoyang didn't expect was that as soon as his mission was released, countless people paid attention, especially some nascent soul cultivators whose lifespan was dry, and they were extremely concerned about life crystals. On the first hour of the news, 5 nascent soul cultivators with withered longevity arrived. 2 nascent souls on the 6th floor, 1 nascent soul on the 8th floor, and 2 nascent souls on the 9th floor. With such a formation, the people in Jagged City were also shocked. 53%. Chapter 319. After the 5 people came to the Tianju list, they checked the reward quest issued by Lin Haoyang, and then looked at the rewards, and they immediately showed excitement in their eyes. This time because of the wasteland reclamation season, few people entered the Tianqing Minor World, but it does not mean that everyone does not know the life crystal. The life crystal appeared in Cultivation World many years ago, and its value is clearest as the sect in the high-ranked cultivator. This is why Lu Fengming is willing to take the risk of searching for the life crystal, as long as he gets the life crystal in his hands. Cultivation base breakthrough nascent soul late stage is a matter of course. Even the breakthrough can increase the chance. After seeing the reward quest, the 5 nascent souls each took it up and quickly left Iron City, but the matter was not over. Many nascent soul cultivators came to take over the quest. In the end, even a cultivator came to take over the task. Washan's participation in it caused an uproar. After all, the source of this matter was just a golden core cultivator. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang's residence became lively. However, the immortal cave leased by Lin Haoyang is a private space, and outsiders have no right to enter. Lin Haoyang had long guessed that when the life crystal came out, it would surely attract countless people's prying eyes. He also rarely paid attention to it. He directly spent 1,000 spirit stones in the Iron Blood City and rented a Tier 4 top-grade immortal cave for 1 year. However, he was really shocked by the price. Originally, he planned to live here for 2 or 3 years until Lu Fengming was brought to justice. But that thought, the 1,000 spirit stones left on his body were only enough for him to rent for a year. Although it has only been 1 year, Lin Haoyang is rarely so quiet. Lin Haoyang is in Immortal Cave. There are countless people who want to visit him. Every day, a large number of sound transmission charms enter Immortal Cave. Lin Haoyang ignored this, until one day, he received a red moon sound transmission charm. At the time of the trial at Shuyang Mountain, Hongyu participated in the trial with him, and it was considered to have some friendship. No matter why she came, Lin Haoyang should receive 1 or 2. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang ushered the Red Moon and Blue River into his own immortal cave. This pair of Dao companions will not separate no matter where they go. What surprised Lin Haoyang even more was that, whether it was Blue River or Red Moon, Cultivation Base had already entered the Golden Core late stage. As for the level of Cultivation Base, with Lin Haoyang's current strength, he couldn't see through. When the two saw Lin Haoyang, they were ashamed. The Chongshan Tower and Qingyunzong were in a cooperative relationship. As an affiliated family, the Lin family was of course also cooperating. But they were ashamed of Lu Fengming's doing such a ugly thing, but they could only bite the bullet and said, "Fellow Taoist Lin, Elder Lu, who was stunned by Lard for a while, committed a mistake, and asked fellow Taoist Lin to raise his hand and withdraw the reward, and the heavy mountain building will be important." Before he finished speaking, Lin Haoyang prevented Hongyu from continuing to speak, saying, "Since the two fellow Taoists are here to intercede with Lu Fengming, please go back. He killed my relatives, and this happened because of me. If you don't avenge him, what face do you want me to return to Lin's house? Want me? Do you have infamy for being unfaithful and unfilial? After all, Red Moon and Lan He stopped talking, and Lan He sighed and said, as a friend, I actually support you. After hearing about your reward for him, Lu Elder has fled back to the Chongshan Tower headquarters overnight. In the headquarters of Chongshan Tower, even the cultivator of God cannot kill him, so you have little effect." Quote. After all, when the two of Red Moon and Blue River left, Lin Haoyang fell into deep thought, just as Lan He said. Lu Fengming fled back to the Chongshan Tower headquarters. As long as he stayed in the Chongshan Tower, even if he took out the life crystal as a reward, he could not kill Lu Fengming. Because he wanted to kill Lu Fengming, he had to conquer the Chongshan Tower, and the 6th rank force with 2 cultivators seated like the Chongshan Tower would be difficult for him to climb into the sky. Just when Lin Haoyang was in deep thought, at the headquarters of Chongshan Tower, Lu Fengming was kneeling in the Great Hall. Sitting on the main seat was another cultivator in Chongshan Tower, Wang Shuzhong. And Li Mucheng, whom Lin Haoyang had seen before, represented the Chongshan Tower at the moment, sitting in Jagged City. Wang Shu looked at Lu Fengming seriously and wanted to take a picture of him. He didn't mean that Lu Fengming did something wrong, but he had no brains, and he killed people in other people's homes without destroying the corpse. Isn't this letting others grab the handle? If Lu Fengming did it cleanly, even if Zhuo Qianji suggested that it was him, but there is no evidence, the Lin family would be helpless. However, Lu Fengming did not clean up, so Zhuo Qianji found a trace of Lu Fengming's spirit aura on Lin Xuanjing's corpse. Oh, this matter is indeed your fault. Now you have been suspended for 3 years of worship, and you have been thinking about facing the cliff for 3 years. As for the Qingyunzong side, it will be handled by Qian Wuan. Wang Shu said seriously. Yes, the disciple is willing to receive punishment. After that, Lu Fengming retreated. Such punishment is already heavy from the perspective of Chongshan Tower. After all, a nascent soul cultivation base killed a foundation building, which is not a big deal. But for the Lin family, it is absolutely unacceptable at this time. Back then, the Lin family could launch a clan war for Lin Haoyang. Now, in order to seek justice for Lin Xuanjing, they can also fight against the 6th rank forces at all. Lu Fengming stepped back, Wang Shuzhong narrowed his eyes. Of course, he also received Lin Haoyang's offer for Lu Fengming, and his eyes couldn't help showing killing intent. Although Lin Haoyang has contributed to the Chongshan Tower, it does not represent that he can be so presumptuous and beat the Chongshan Tower's face like this. At this moment, a dark shadow appeared behind Wang Shuzhong, half kneeling on the ground. Don't let him live anymore. Black nodded, then disappeared into the shadow. In the 6th-rank immortal cave in the Iron Blood City, Li Mucheng looked at Lin Haoyang's offer of reward, with a smile rising from the corner of his mouth, so bloody, it was in line with his appetite. If according to her temperament, Lu Fengming would have been beheaded by him, but Lu Fengming was Wang Shuzhong's disciple, and he could only try to pressure, and could not cross Wang Shuzhong and cut Lu Fengming. In other words, Lu Fengming, only when Wang Shu nodded, Lin Haoyang had a chance to take revenge. Li Mucheng touched his chin and smiled. I want to see what other tricks this kid can do. It can be said that Lin Haoyang issued a reward order, like a stone that caused 1,000 waves. I don't know how many people are paying attention to this place. Lin Haoyang knew that after Lu Fengming returned to the Chongshan Tower, he had trouble sleeping and eating. As long as Lu Fengming hid in the gate of the Chongshan Tower for a day, he would be safe for one day. Even if he took out another life crystal, he could not kill Lu Fengming. After thinking about it for a while, Lin Haoyang decided to take out his assassin. He took out a token from his storage bag, which Mu Zuzi gave him that day. On that day, Mu Zuzi took a treasure he found in the Shuyang Mountain ruins, and gave him this token, saying that something was holding this token to the Sword Alliance. The Zhanmeng would try his best to satisfy his request. Since Zongshanlu didn't want to hand someone to him, he would force them to hand someone to him. However, when he went to the Jian League area, Lin Haoyang still changed his own bones and changed his appearance so as not to be recognized on the road and trouble him. 54%. Chapter 320 Sword Alliance intervenes. Soon, Lin Haoyang left the immortal cave and came to the Iron Blood City. Because Lin Haoyang changed his body shape, no one recognized him as the person who posted the sky-high reward. The life crystal is hanging on the Tianzhu list. I don't know how many people will be attracted to come and watch every day, especially some people with dry life. The degree of desire for it has almost reached its peak. However, they can only sigh with excitement. Lu Fengming is hiding in the headquarters of Chongshan Tower, and no one can kill him. Asking while walking along the way, Lin Haoyang came to the Zhanmeng headquarters, where the city lord's mansion was located. The headquarters of the Sword League is very large, and a large area to the east of the Iron and Blood City is occupied by it. Lin Haoyang came to the door and stopped by 2 golden core cultivators. That's right, the Sword League is so rich and powerful, and the guards at the door are all golden core cultivators. 2 fellow Taoist, I have something to see the high level of Zhanmeng. Please be accommodating, Lin Haoyang said. The Sword League can't be entered by anyone who wants to enter. You also want to see the high level of the Sword League. You count that green onion, Yi Wei said. Lin Haoyang frowned and then relaxed again. He didn't need to argue with a guard, wasting time again. Tap the storage bag and send out Mu Zuzi's token. When the token was revealed, Lin Haoyang only injected spirit power a little, and a huge wooden character appeared in the air. At the same time, a powerful coercion radiated from it. As soon as this coercion came out, no one except Lin Haoyang could stand in front of the Zhanmeng headquarters. Looking at the huge wooden characters in the sky, the 2 golden core faces looked as if they had eaten flies. They were extremely ugly, but Lin Haoyang had such a background. After today, they want to stay in this position, but it will be difficult. The moment Lin Haoyang used the token, Mu Zuzi, who was dozens of thousands of miles away, felt his heart and smiled at the corner of his mouth. He took Lin Haoyang's black bone, and Lin Haoyang now uses the token he sent, which is considered a karma. There was a huge wooden character shining in the sky of Jagged City at this moment. The wooden character was so big and powerful that it could be seen in any corner of Jagged City. Even the 3 Hidao Danengs guarding this place were alarmed, and suddenly appeared in front of Lin Haoyang. However, the most surprised was Li Mucheng, who saw Mu Zuzi reward Lin Haoyang with this token that day. Coupled with Lin Haoyang's current helpless situation, he was 90% sure that it was Lin Haoyang who spurred this token. The cultivator of Hidao realm is usually too busy. Sometimes it is too late to deal with some things, or forcibly requisitioning some treasures, it will leave tokens with its own breath. As long as you hold this token and show it on the site where you find the Sword Alliance can help it deal with it. And Lin Haoyang took out the token this time. In addition to the breath of Mu Zuzi, it also carried his name, which meant that Mu Zuzi owed him a favor. It also means that Lin Haoyang can use this order to invite a Hidao cultivator, and only the Hidao cultivator can repay the favor of the Hidao cultivator. On Lin Haoyang's side, 3 people suddenly appeared in front of him, 2 men and 1 woman, an elderly, a middle-aged cultivator, and an extremely beautiful woman. As soon as the three arrived, the aura in the token shrank, and Muzi immediately dissipated. Where did your token come from? The old man said. Lin Haoyang looked at the three of them as if he had seen Muzuzi that day. In front of the three of them, he felt that he was weaker than an ant. Back to Senior, this token was given by Muzuzi Senior when he lost contact with Shuyang Mountain that day. Lin Haoyang respectfully said. Immediately, the old man nodded and said. It is indeed the Muzuzi fellow Taoist token. Since you dare to take it out, you understand her usage. Let's talk. What's your request? Lin Haoyang looked happy. The cultivator was willing to take action, and even if Lu Fengming hid in the Chongshan Tower, there was absolutely no possibility of surviving. Afterwards, Lin Haoyang uttered all about Lu Fengming, neither exaggerating nor slandering. Afterwards, the old man nodded and said, this person is indeed guilty. Kill it instead. Bring the token. Lin Haoyang didn't know why, but he still offered the token respectfully. The old man took the token, made a knife with his hand, and swiped the token. The original wooden character was suddenly missing. Then the old man returned the token to Lin Haoyang and said, killing a nascent soul is not enough to consume the favor of a cultivator. At this level, you can ask for 3 more times, but you can't invite the 3 of us. Lin Haoyang nodded. It was a pity that he had originally used this token on Lu Fengming, but if only 1/3 of it was used, it was still acceptable. After that, the old man whispered softly, and after a while, Li Mucheng suddenly appeared beside everyone. Li Mucheng, I have met 3 seniors. Li Mucheng said. In 3 days, I want to see Lu Fengming's head, otherwise, I will visit your Chongshan Tower myself. Said the old man. As soon as Li Mucheng heard this, his whole body trembled. The old man's decisive killing was well known in the world of cultivating immortals. If he were to go to the Chongshan Tower, it would not be Lu Fengming who would lose. My boy, unless, Lu Fengming's head will be fetched in 3 days. After that, he glanced at Lin Haoyang and left quickly. Lin Haoyang had this token in his hand, he knew it, but he never thought of it for so long. If he remembered this early, he would not let Lu Fengming get away with it. It was really too much involved in this matter, and if one couldn't deal with it, Chongshan Tower would suffer. When Lin Haoyang saw the old man's words, he decided Lu Fengming's life and death. He was shocked. As expected, whoever has the big fist in this world is the boss. The departure of Li Mucheng also announced the end of the matter. The old man and the middle-aged man took a look at Lin Haoyang, and then left separately. The extremely beautiful woman kept staring at Lin Haoyang. This person did not speak, and Lin Haoyang was too embarrassed to leave. After waiting for a while, Lin Haoyang couldn't stand it anymore, and said, what's the matter with Senior? If the kid can do it, I will do my best. A smile appeared on the corner of the extremely beautiful woman's mouth and said, you. Kind of weird. Listening to this, Lin Haoyang's heart was shocked. Did this person discover the jade fault in his body? Before he was unwilling to take out the token because he was afraid of being found but he was still discovered. Senior. This is really not my true face. Lin Haoyang trembled. Listening to this, the corners of the mouth of the extremely beautiful woman were more smiling, and said, you know what I said, such a treasure. Muzuzi fellow Taoist didn't say anything, then it is yours, don't be nervous, I won't grab a golden core thing yet. Hearing this, Lin Haoyang was terrified to the extreme. Even though this person said so, he was still scared. If other cultivators detect abnormalities, they can be so polite, I don't know. Thank you, Senior. Lin Haoyang said hurriedly, uneasy. The extremely beautiful woman waved her hand and said, if you have Muzuzi's token, no one in the Sword League will take your treasure. Other people, you have to be careful. This time I stayed not for it, but to ask you, would you like to be my disciple? Quote, you, would you like to be my disciple? Quote, you, would you like to be my